relief to the island. $2 billion of the grant will go toward an upgrade to the power grid system in Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands. The remaining money, which is a little less than $10 billion, will go to 9 states, 5 city and county governments, and the U.S. Virgin Islands, to areas damaged by hurricanes, floods, and wildfires. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
Well, today is Equal Pay Day.
The National Committee on Pay Equity, a coalition of women's and civil rights organizations, started Equal Pay Day back in 1996. The group Lean In, founded by Facebook's Sheryl Sandberg, says women on average are paid 20% less than men. Black and Latino women are paid even less. Women need to work an extra 3 months and more than a week into this year to make as much as men did in 2017. Sandberg says closing the gender pay gap is about basic fairness. Companies are acknowledging the day by using the slogan 20% counts. Jenny Cosola, Fox News.
Removal of a southwestern Michigan park fountain that some say celebrates white supremacy is expected in the coming weeks. Kalamazoo officials say the fountain of the Pioneers in Bronson Park will be dismantled and stored until a decision is made on where to relocate it. That fountain, completed in 1940, features a European settler with a weapon in his hand towering over a Native American. I'm Rich Dennison, Fox News Radio.
Do you carry your lunch to school or work? You can reduce waste simply by using reusable containers instead of plastic bottles and disposable bags. Switch to putting your food in Tupperware and putting your drinks into a thermos or flask.
Catch more Clean and Green Living tips every day and get inspired to make a cleaner, greener effort in your community. Happy Earth Month from the stations of Choice Broadcasting.
Brought to you in part by Leo Palace Resort Guam. Come to our home and be part of our story. Visit us on Facebook and Instagram for special promotions every month.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. I'm Kim Anderson of Chalampago, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Protehi Itanotmo, protect your land. When it comes to your family land, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
As we journey through the new year, we here at APL continue to find ways to better deliver our island's resources with innovative and cost-effective solutions, lending our helping hands by carrying your freight safely from the U.S. mainland or anywhere in our global network. We humbly honor the opportunities to continue to work and connect with you and your business. We are APL, and we are here for you.
On April 14th, join Bank of Guam for the first ever Hagåtña City EFIT Run and Block Party to benefit the Guam Cancer Care and the American Cancer Society Guam. This event begins with a sunset run through our capital, starting at 5 p.m. at the Chamorro Village, and the excitement continues at our block party with food trucks, beer garden, live entertainment, and the greatest beast competition, and a fun-filled kids zone. The Hagåtña City EFIT Run and Block Party, Saturday, April 14th, brought to you by Bank of Guam, member FDIC.
Ready to buy real estate on Guam? Congratulations! But what now? There are so many questions, so many things to do. Where do you start? The best place to start is to call Century 21 Commonwealth Realty, Guam's biggest name in real estate. They aren't the best because they're the biggest. They're the biggest because they're the best. Trust the name. Find out why. Call Century 21 Commonwealth Realty today. 888-2121. Trust the best.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 6 a.m. this Wednesday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Guam Waterworks Authority customers can expect continued rate hikes over the next 20 years as the agency attempts to raise $1.2 billion to fund projects to upgrade the island's water and wastewater infrastructure. The rate hikes are part of a proposed updated Water Resources Master Plan presented to members of the Consolidated Commission on Utilities yesterday afternoon. GWA anticipates the cost of service will rise 4.5% each year for the first 6 years, beginning in 2019. By 2025, the annual rate increases will taper off to about 3% until 2037. In terms of dollars, customers using up to 5,000 gallons a month can anticipate an average annual increase of $2.89 on their monthly regular water bill Between 2018 and 2027, the utility estimates that the monthly bill for customers in that group would rise to about $120 by 2037. The Archdiocese of Agaña's former chancellor has been named in a civil complaint filed in the District Court of Guam as the alleged abuser of a then altar boy, Reverend Adrian Cristobal, accused of sexually molesting and abusing the former altar boy between 1995 and 97 at the San Vicente San Roque Catholic Church in Barragata. The former altar boy, who used his initials LJC to protect his identity, is represented by attorney David Lujan, who filed the lawsuit yesterday. The lawsuit alleges the first incidents of sexual abuse occurred when LJC was 12. Cristobal summoned the boy into his office and scolded him. In an email to the media, Tony Diaz, the communications director for the Archdiocese, advised that Father Adrian is still a priest of the Archdiocese of Agaña. However, he is on an off-island mission at the Diocese of Phoenix. Given the news, however, Diaz said that Father Adrian is being called back to the island. We'll have more news after this.
For over 55 years, Community First has served our island as a full-service financial institution. And now, we're proud to introduce the new Community First Student-Run Credit Union, open in Manila on Route 10. Guam's first student-run financial institution, which means it's operated by college students like us, ready to serve all our members, existing and new. We're just down the road from UOG and GCC. Community First Guam Federal Credit Union, now open in Manila. This credit union is federally insured by NCUA.
Hey, it's your stomach again. Subway has all new signature wraps, and around the water cooler, the other stomachs can't stop talking about them. Chipotle Southwest Steak and Cheese, Turkey, Bacon, and Guac, Rotisserie-style Chicken Caesar signature wraps. Listen, if I'm honest, as a talking stomach, I don't have a lot of life experience. But I do know one thing. These signature wraps are jam-packed with meat. So what are you waiting for? I'm growling over here. Subway, make it what you want.
11 minutes past 6 a.m. here at The Point. A pedestrian was struck by a pickup truck yesterday evening while trying to cross Marine Corps Drive near the Tic Tac electronics store in Tamuning. It happened about 7:45. The man was struck as he left Gangnam Market and headed across the street towards the Tamuning Plaza Hotel. The injured man was taken to Guam Memorial Hospital. His condition has not been released, although he was reportedly conscious and responsive at the scene. Guam has seen at least 4 pedestrian fatalities less than 4 months into this year. United Airlines announcing yesterday that it will add 20 additional flights from Tokyo Narita and Nagoya to Guam in August. The additional flights are being added to meet high Japanese travel demand during the summer holidays, according to a release from United Corporate Communications. 13 of the flights will fly out of Tokyo Narita. 7 will be coming from Nagoya. Guam Visitors Bureau President Nate DeKnight said it's great news for Guam as GVB and the airport continue their efforts to increase air seat capacity from Japan. DeKnight thanked United for its commitment to the island, adding this will definitely have a positive effect on the economy. Guam's tourism industry has lost nearly 200,000 flight seats since last year when United began reducing its flights from Japan and Delta stopped flying to Guam altogether. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Here's Ray with some weather.
Thank you very much, Kevin. Partly cloudy skies and isolated showers. Now, this is not just for the tourists. This is for us, too. East winds up to about 20 miles an hour. Daytime highs today going to be 89 degrees. Expected overnight lows will be 77 degrees. Sunset tonight, 6:33. Sunrise this morning was about a minute ago. Broke the plane, and it's going to do that earlier and earlier. And for those of you that don't make Guam your year-round home, just a thought here. If you come back here in the summertime, the sun will be up at 5:30.
Yes, it will.
And it freaks the chickens out. So that's what the deal is. Weather remaining relatively dry with east winds up to about 20 miles an hour through much of the week. Computer forecast models and underwear models are still showing a better chance of rain Saturday night through Monday. That's news and weather together here on The Point. It's brought to you by Bank Pacific, where some put branches, they place roots.
In illness and in wellness, Calvo's Select Care is health care that is there for you. That's why over 80% of the Guam medical community places their trust and insures with us. We offer our members wellness and fitness programs for a healthier lifestyle and provide a comprehensive medical network on and off island to help members from unexpected illnesses. Contact Calvo's Select Care today for more information.
Always feels good to recite this back to you again. It's been a couple of weeks. The Ray Gibson Show is brought to you by King's Restaurant, serving Guam favorites to families like yours for over 40 years. King's Restaurants, always open and always local.
Yes, money is something we should talk about and plan for and use to make life better. It's how we make our giant leap from where we are to where we want to be. So let's talk together and work together to check off shiny new kitchens, fully nested dorm rooms, and bucket lists with more countries than our passports can hold. Let's check them all off together. First Hawaiian Bank. It all starts with yes. Member FDIC.
Do you know what you're doing when it comes to property? I mean, do you know what you're doing most of the time?
I don't even think I know what I'm doing in here right now.
I get in the car and I got to retrain myself. So imagine doing something as complex as buying or selling a piece of property. It can get tricky fast. And if you don't know what you're doing, my suggestion is you go find somebody that can help you. And there's plenty of them at Security Title, providing solutions for your complex real estate transactions. Can't help you with anything else.
Come out for the 4th annual Chucky Run and Fun 5K, 2K, and Flyaway giveaway. Join us Saturday, April 14th at Chuck E. Cheese's Guam. Show at 5:30 and go at 6 a.m. T-shirts, medals, and other cool prizes, refreshments, and indoor activities after the races. Grand prize drawing for all participants is a trip package for 2 to Manila. Register at Chuck E. Cheese's Guam. $8 for students, $12 for adults, and Group of 4 Super Saver for just $35. The 4th annual Chuck E. Run and Fun 5K, 2K, and Flyaway giveaway. See you there.
The Ray Gibson Show. Morning talk that matters. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Can help you out with some other things. You know, Kim is a pretty crafty lady over at Security Title.
Ah, okay.
She knows lots of people in Alaska. She knows all about Alaska.
Nice.
You can ask her about moose.
Moose. Mises.
Yeah. Oh, there's a joke there, and it's a long time ago, and I'm not going to remember it. Hey, welcome to the program. It's the Ray Gibson Show here on The Point, 616, and never, ever alone. I'm never alone in here because, frankly, I don't know how half of the equipment works. I installed it, and that is it. It's need people to work it every day. So that's what Mike does on that side of the glass. 888-8255. Again, 888-8255 is the phone number. You get him, and then he will get some information from you, put it on a computer screen, and then I will see it, and then I will determine whether you're good enough to go on the air.
You know, it's a little anticlimactic when they hear me answer the phone.
You're the one with the voice.
Well,
what
first of all,
about?
I think I'm Kevin. They go, hey, Kevin. I'm like, no, man.
How could that be?
I don't know.
You know?
Dick. You know, people ask me, what happened? Why does Mike have that voice? And the nearest thing I can think of is an industrial farm equipment accident when he was a child.
Dude, I grew up next to refineries. That's got to be a full explanation right there.
It just is. Kevin Kerrigan from the Guam Daily Post is here this morning, and I was commenting to him earlier because if you open up the Guam Daily Post today, there's a bunch of stories with Kevin's name next to them, and they're all the legislative stories. And I said, man, I feel for you, man. You had to spend all day long over at the legislature on these hearings that they had there.
Watch it on YouTube. You can type in peace and take your notes and
Yep. So trust me, all of
laugh
the information
without anybody seeing or hearing. You know.
Because you're not allowed to roll your eyes when you're down there, right? So
you got to be careful. You got to behave yourself.
Roll your eyes in the comfort of your office while you're doing it. And the cool thing is you can do that and another story or two at the same time. You're capable of multitasking. And to the degree that I might be capable of a couple of things, we'll find out. I was going to make a spoof about coming in late this morning, staying up late, rewatching Altered Carbon, which was a great Netflix binge. And if you haven't Netflix binged on Altered Carbon yet, may I suggest you do so. There's nothing wrong with the television program, and I watched it all the way through the first time, and I thought, you know what, this might be worth watching a second time. And naturally, as is the case when I start watching a show that I've already watched before, I was out like a light.
Ah, see?
Good night, Mr. Gibson.
Wow.
See you later. Catch you in the morning and in the show and all of that. So I was going to make a joke about staying up all night last night, binging Altered Carbon, and waking up at 5 minutes to 6 and just flying in here with no notes, no preparation whatsoever.
But you know,
and seeing if I could do the show.
But I can't let you do that because I have standing instructions to call you at 5:15.
That's right. If I'm not in the building, if I'm not vertical or sitting at my desk by 5:15, somebody has to make a telephone call to the governor and have him send J.I. Cruz to my house, because for heaven's sakes, can't make it through a morning without me here on the program. At least that's what some people say, and actually a couple of people saying about the same thing this morning on the online deal that's already very, very active. What do we got here? Brad, I like this. Brad's starting the morning with a compliment here, waiting to get a day's fill of stimulating and intelligent talk. And we'll bring it to you at 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock, Kill Me'll be on, and then we got Rush on. And oh, you mean me? Well, I appreciate that. It's good to have you there. Another question from somebody that is asking, what is Rico Blancaflor says, good morning, Ray. Does The Point have an app so I can listen to The Point in my cell phone any time of the day? Yeah. Yeah, we do. Yeah. It's the kind of the app that came with the stream, and I honestly don't like it very much. Right. So if you go to the website, if you go to thepoint.com, there's a link and there's instructions on how to put it on the home screen of your. Again, I don't like it. I am working. I've developed the roadmap for what I'd like to see on the app. Nice. But the guy that needs to put the app together is having his honeymoon.
Oh, wow.
So you know, I don't want to bother him. There's other ways. Do you have Alexa? If you have an Alexa gizmo at your house, just tell Alexa to play The Point or KUSG. And they tell me that that's all you got to do. We're big on TuneIn here at Choice Broadcasting, so all of our radio stations have a very, very advanced TuneIn page on them, including this one. So if you can't get Alexa to work, if you don't like the app that's on thepoint.com, just plug in TuneIn. There's another one, and without getting too heavy into the details on this, Next Radio, NEXTRADIO. It works with most phones, and it works very well with phones that have FM radios in them. You might have one, and you know, you can tell if you've got a button that says radio. But you get this Next Radio app, and what it does is it will use the radio to listen to the radio as opposed to the stream.
Wow,
and
nice.
you go, but there's other things that you put in the stream part, right, Ray? And the answer is yes, and it will use the internet for that part. And the cool thing about it is, we've got it working on The Point. We've got the thing working on Boss 104. Is you're not using your data to pull down the audio. You're using the radio. It's using data to get other bits and pieces of information, like what song is playing and that. So TuneIn, Streama, and Next Radio are my preferred if you're not using that one. So where do we get to go? I don't want to waste a lot of time talking about that. There's stuff that we've got to get to today, this happens to me all the time, and so I'm probably at the point where I'm not going to apologize it. I got somebody on the line. I got Joey Duenas, Consolidated Commission on Utilities chairman, and we're talking about new power plants and 18 guys that have picked up packets and starting to look like we're going to get some go on this 180. And we talked about battery power, and we talked about transmission and distribution improvements. But you know what he didn't say anything to me about yesterday?
The master plan.
What's that?
The master plan.
The plan to increase my water rates on top of everything else. Do we not go through this yesterday? The consumer price index conversation that we had yesterday. That kept you know who did her homework on that? Regine Biscoe-Lee, Senator Regine Biscoe-Lee. I don't know whether she heard me talking about it or whether our brains are moving in parallel here. But she yesterday afternoon, had a thing on Facebook with Mark Zuckerberg's permission that was talking about 7.7% increase in the cost of groceries. And And it's worth pointing out that she is the one over at the legislature that's had the conversation and measures introduced that would prevent us from spending any more on groceries and other goods. If we can get them exempted out from under this increase in the business privilege tax. But a 7.7% increase, that's already there. It was there before we started talking about all of this stuff. So we got the prices are going up. Gasoline has gone up. Power is going to be going up in just a little bit. Brace yourselves. The other side of the LEAC is going to be happening in another, 6 weeks? Something? Just every other cost in the world seems to be going up. So brace yourself. I don't know what to do about it.
I propose raises for everyone.
I'll take that.
Yeah, you don't want to scrap with me on a minimum wage conversation. Yeah, okay, let's legislate people out of poverty. Instead of going to $15, make it $100 an hour. No problem. No problem, let's make it $100 an hour.
I'm all
Get
for
everybody reelected here.
$120 a month for water in 2037.
Right?
I probably won't be around then. So
I have a little one-bedroom place, and I'm already paying $55 a month.
Right, yeah. So, the last time this happened, I decided I would just go and use the bathroom outside. My neighbors, they have issue with it. But I'm saving money, right? It's fertilizer. It's good for the environment. It's nitrogen or something. I don't know. Trying to come up with something. I tried flushing less. I remember a couple of years ago, we'd moved into the house, and the house came with a pipe that went into the sewer, and so I'd moved out of one house that had a leaching field in the back of it.
Oh wow!
So I didn't have access to the sewer lines, so I didn't get charged that extra rate by the guys over at GWA. And then I moved into a different house that did have access to the sewer rate, and happy days are here again. Let's buy a new truck. Ray Gibson lives in a place where we can charge him to take away his poopy stinky water, right? So that's get ready, guys. There's going to be plenty more, enough of that. So my friend Brad online says we got to get rid of these jokers over at the Consolidated Commission on Utilities. Well, I talked to one of the jokers yesterday, and he said that he wants to finish what he started. Simon hasn't gotten all of our money yet, so he wants to go in for a little bit. I'm just kidding. Sorry. Citizens need to wake up and vote these CCU jokers out of office. Water goes up, next power goes up, then back to water. And don't forget Simon's support of the sales tax increases. The citizens are tapped out. And so what you going to do about it? You want to take it out on some people over at the legislature? Good luck. 7 of them aren't even running again. You want to take it out on the CCU? Well, only 3 seats are up in this election. Simon's chair and Francie Santos' chair and George Bomba's chair. So good luck with going after these guys. What, you want to take it out on the governor, Eddie Calvo? You want to blame this on Eddie? Pepsi? Calvo? Good luck on that one, too, because he's already served out his 2 terms. His sentence is almost over.
If you notice, he's all about trying to do happy things for everybody now. He wants to put a carnival up. He wants to privatize the buses. He wants to kumbaya, yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be fun. A couple of other comments, and I'll get to those on the line. But that's I don't know. I think where my brain is. Is that the rant here this morning? We've got time for another rant, maybe a half rant, 3/4 rant between now and the bottom of the hour headlines, and this is one of them. Just before I went to sleep last night, we started getting word about another auto pedestrian accident, and this one down over by the Gundam store.
The TikTok store?
Yeah, that a little bit. A little further up than that. Kind of closer to a Lupang Towers, right?
In between the two.
So apparently crossing the road gets clipped by a car. We don't know what the condition of this guy is, but I can assume that there might be some grave medical conditions that may be as a result of that accident. We're seeing what we can find out this morning as the news cycle continues. But this is the thing, and I don't know what he was wearing. I can only say that this morning on my way to work.
Right.
And I don't like to drive with the brights on because oncoming traffic and I might be behind somebody. But I'm up and around and driving between 4:45 and 5 o'clock to work every single morning. And as I was passing by the Department of Revenue and Taxation, I'm able barely, because it's dark there, to make out a shape. And I couldn't, honest to God, tell what that shape was on the side of the road. Wow. And it was some guy bending over to tie his shoes, or looking like he was bent over to tie his shoes. And if I'd been on the phone, if I'd not been paying attention, I mean, he was right there next to the shoulder. I could have clipped him with my rearview mirror. And so, you know, here's the thing. We got to do something about making these roads brighter. We've also got to get the word out. Hey, people, if you're going to be walking around at night, wear bright clothes. Wear something reflective. I'm a runner, and I'm the worst runner in the world at this stuff. I count on the fact that I have pale white translucent legs that
kind of alien, actually.
Yeah, alien style legs, and I presume that those things are reflecting all kinds of light off of me and will bounce moonlight off, and people will be able to see me. I know better than that, and I know that's not the case. I'm very careful about what I wear when I'm running, and if I'm running in the dark, I like to wear light-colored clothes so people might be able to see me. And most running outfits will have a stripe or two of reflective material so that you can see it. But we've got to get the word out to people. This is why I'm a runner and not a cyclist, because I'm going to run on the sidewalks. Cyclists have to ride in the same lane as the cars.
True. Yeah.
That's real dangerous. Which means you have to turn your back on everybody behind you. And the answer from this particular athlete is, oh, hell no. And it's not going to happen. I don't trust the other drivers when they're in my car.
Drive in the center lane.
There's an idea. There is an idea.
Avoid both the inner and the outer lane.
I remember a former speaker of the legislature. His name was Ben Pangilinan, and Ben Pangilinan has a law on the books that says any new road work that we're going to be doing has to have bike lanes. Got to have some kind of pedestrian set aside, and they don't bother doing that. They talk to the mayors, and the mayors say, well, we'd rather have a turning lane, or we'd rather have something else that is unrelated to pedestrian safety, and so that's the way that usually works out. Certainly, that's the way it worked out when they were working on the improvements to Route 4 all of those years ago. Brand new, beautiful blacktop highway, 4 miles down the middle of the island, and there were supposed to be bike lanes there, and they didn't put anything down, and that ticked everybody off, because that would have been a great 4 mile out and back on a bike or on a road or something like that. But no, we don't get that. But we do have a Dededo Sports Complex upgrade coming up. We'll talk about that, because I've got some of the details on that and a bunch of other stuff. Hey, if what I'm saying to you, if my rants are not hitting you in your rant spot, you're welcome to call in with yours. 888-8255. Again, that is 888-8255. Don't be like Tom. Don't call another number, because they might get mad at you and hang up. He said that's what happened to him the other day. No sense of humor. So remember it, 888-8255, Ray Gibson Show at gmail.com, and the World Wide Web, or find me right now along with all of the rest of your morning show friends at Facebook Live. It's 6:31 and time for a look at headlines from the Guam Daily Post. Here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 32 minutes past 6 a.m. In the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning, a federal indictment was unsealed in district court yesterday, charging Ernie Muñoz Valencia with attempted possession of methamphetamine with intent to distribute. Valencia is accused of attempting to distribute 5 grams of meth on May 8th of last year. The indictment was returned by a federal grand jury on April 4th, but it was sealed until Valencia was taken into custody. Valencia has entered a plea of not guilty, and he was granted conditional release on Monday by designated Judge Michael Bordallo. Jury trial is set for June 13th. A public hearing was held yesterday on a bill that seeks to ban and criminalize abortions for women 20 weeks into their pregnancy that are not covered by specified exemptions. Bill 232 was introduced by Senator Dennis Rodriguez. Yesterday's public hearing drew a large crowd of people, and testimony extended well past 8 o'clock last night. Among those testifying against the measure was attorney Anita Areola, who said she opposed it because it is an extreme, unconstitutional political interference in a woman's most personal medical decisions. However, Bobby Pelkey, state deputy of the Knights of Columbus, testified in support of the measure. He said lawmakers have to consider the moral implications of their votes and reminded the senators that the Catholic Church opposes abortion because abortion is moral evil, he said. The Navy's first 2 operational MQ-4C Triton high-altitude surveillance aircraft will start missions over the Pacific by the end of this year from a forward base here on Guam. Naval Air Systems Command officials made the announcement to reporters Monday in Maryland, according to a report in USNI News. The unmanned Triton has a wingspan of 131 feet. They were built by Northrop Grumman for maritime intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance missions, according to the report. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
iConnect time is 6:34. Connect longer for less with iConnect's push to talk mobile and internet plans.
Every time I travel, there's something from home that I can't leave without. I take my Docomo Pacific Data to Go to share my stories in Taiwan, check subway routes in Tokyo, be my food guide in Hong Kong, meet new friends in the Philippines, make updates in the States, find my way around Korea, and check out all the cool shows in Singapore. It's the data I have in all the places I love for only $10 a day. Data to Go from Docomo Pacific. Better together.
So I finished my workout last night, and as I was headed home, I thought to myself, I'm going to grab something to eat. Yeah. So I went to Wendy's. And I pulled up, and the guy recognized my voice. He said, pulled up. He says, can I get you something? I said, hold on a minute. He says, oh, Ray. I said, yeah, okay, give me a second. I'm the last person in line anyway. And he says, you want one of those smoky mushroom bacon cheeseburger sandwiches? And I was going to say yes, because in my head I was thinking about the portobello mushrooms and the Asiago cheese and the bacon and all of the other stuff. And then I started thinking about the bacon a little bit more. The bacon kept running around in my head. I said, do you have enough in there for a Baconator for me? Done, Ray.
Oh, nice.
Handled. Yes, we do. And I thought, well, wait a second. I just came from a workout. Just came from, doing my constitutional. Maybe I should probably have something. Maybe a salad. No. So Applewood smoked. No, it's not Applewood. What is it? What is the salad that they have there? Apple pecan. It's apple. Yes. It's an apple pecan, and if you're nice, they'll put bacon in there for you.
Really?
No, you have to ask. I'm pretty sure they can't tell just by looking at you. But the chicken. So the guy says we have this with the baked chicken. I said I want it with the spicy chicken, and they'll do that for you too. So I'm just saying, you just think about the new smoky mushroom bacon cheeseburger, but be prepared because there's a ton of other flavors that you might find over at the Wendy's place. And if you can't decide, get them both.
Triple J says yes. Zero down? Yes. 1.9% financing? Yes. Easy trade-in? Yes. No payments for 90 days? Yes. We'll have you saying yes, too, to these amazing deals. Like our big boy truck, the Ford F-150 at only $217 per paycheck. Or the top safety pick Mazda CX-5 Sport at only $194 per paycheck. Or turn heads in the Mazda 3 Sport or the sleek and sophisticated Kia Soul. Both for only $129 per paycheck. Visit us online at triplejguam.com. Some conditions apply. See dealer for details. Triple J. Customers first.
The traffic, it's building, but not necessarily slowing down. Watching it in front of the Waiseng Song area leading into the Guam International Airport from Route 16, and a little bit of buildup coming up from the northern end of Tumon just before you get to Santos Hill. Don't see anything major. What do we got here? A little bit of back and forth in front of the Paseo. People already lining up for Wednesday night market. Maybe that's what it is. But nothing major to report here this morning. No accidents, nothing that is going to slow you down too much. So 636, that's the kind of traffic you get on the point.
When the power goes out on Guam, the little things can become surprisingly big. Small comforts are often the things we miss most during a power outage. That is why Kohler built the fastest responding generator sets in the industry. Whether you are at home or away, a residential Kohler generator will enable you and your family to live life without interruption. Kohler gas, LPG, and diesel power systems are available from Morrico Equipment LLC on Epal Road. Call 649-1946. That's 649-1946. Don't forget to click on to Morrico Equipment RockAutoEquipment.com.
Relax, enjoy, and be greeted by the spectacular view of Hagåtña Bay when you visit the Point at the Sheraton Laguna Guam. Gaze into the beautiful sunset as you unwind to the music of Philip Garcia and Natasha on Wednesdays, Mama Shar and Nina on Thursdays, Philip Garcia and Louise Munia on Fridays, and Jack Larimer on Saturdays. Open daily from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Happy hour from 5 to 8 p.m. with all cocktail drinks for $7. Receive a discount when you present your SPG card. Call Peter Yaban at 646-2222 for reservations at the Point at the Sheraton Laguna Guam Resort.
The Ray Gibson Show. News to fill your mind. Talk to get it out. Turn it up. Now tell a friend.
So it says, ARG moment, guys. ARG moment. So I get this note from somebody on Facebook, and he's like, okay, don't say this on the air, but. And it's juicy. It's juicy. Don't do that to me. Don't. Most of the time I can keep a secret. Most of the time I can keep a secret. I'll tell you what. It has to do with the PED accident last night. I'll tell you when we're in a break. What do we got here? Anything fun? No. Okay. I was just looking over something on Facebook, and Janae has a comment that Regine had made a reference on, and I'm tagged on the whole thing. And sometimes I never know when those kind of things are going to mean anything to me, so I always check them. So the online poll, and I haven't talked about this. This thing has been up since like Sunday, and I'm sorry, we've been busy talking about all kinds of other stuff, and so I've been derelict in my morning show duties to tell you that there is a new online poll. Now, I remember once upon a time in conversations that I've had with Dr. Ron McNinch from the University of Guam that sometimes it comes down to an affinity call that people will have with their elected leaders. And there are times where you go, yeah, that guy's smart, or that guy's got lots of really good ideas, or that guy's whatever, but I wouldn't let him hold my wallet. That guy's, he's a pretty sharp dude, but I wouldn't let him watch my kids. So I was thinking about that. And trying to sort out an affinity relationship that you may have with, as an example, our folks that are running for the governor's office. So I asked you, who would you rather have show up at your barbecue? Now, I will sound biased from the start, but it is only because I know for a fact that if he shows up at your barbecue, he's not coming in empty-handed, right? And, of course, I'm talking about Uncle Carl and Fred Berdalio. I don't know so much about Fred, but definitely Carl. And there's a ton of stuff that you might want to ask. There was a picture he did on Facebook the other day about something that he was going to bring for a friend's get-together. And I think it was the start of his world-famous frittata. So there's that. Frank and Alicia, I don't know, and I don't think you know either, because that's the results on the poll. 1.92%. Say that they would rather have Frank and Alicia show up at the barbecue. And it's not that they're bad people. I like Frank. I love Alicia. But, you know, Alicia's, I remember joking with her about it. And she says, how did you know? Alicia's the kind of person, when the teacher leaves the room, she hands a piece of paper and a pen to Alicia and says, okay, if anybody acts up now, you write down their name and they're going to be in trouble. Alicia was the one, yes, ma'am, I will. I'll do that. There's Dennis and Dave. I was going to put that guy, but I figured that I used that bit already. So Dennis and Dave, also 1.92, which accounts for maybe a vote. Lou and Josh, 1.92. And then there's Ray and Tony. Now this is what I know about. I like Tony when Tony comes to this stuff, because it's nice to see him in more of a civilian thing. You know, hey, and his wife. Hey, Ray, how's everybody doing? I said, everybody's doing good. There's no new business for you. Sorry. And then you got Ray. Like Ray will bring beer. So those are the two big guys that we've got going in for the results of the poll so far. Who would you rather have show up at your barbecue? They do this version of this in the States. Who would you rather go fishing with? But, I think barbecue is a big deal for us. So Carl and Fred in second place at 43.27%, and Ray and Tony at 50.96%. 50.96. So a little bit more of a majority there for the Lieutenant Governor and his running mate, Tony Atta. You want to jump into that poll? You disagree with that? You're saying, see, and I didn't even mention Dennis. I can't even imagine Dennis coming to a barbecue, right? I'm sorry, I just don't see it.
Doesn't everybody go to the barbecue?
I don't know. I don't know. I just can't see him, just walking in with a couple of cases of Bud.
Well, maybe not Bud.
Just walk in. Where's the food? 643. Thepoint.gu on the World Wide Web is where you'll be able to find that and participate in our fantastical online poll. I don't know. That's an interesting question. Caller wanted to know. You can go on the air and ask me. I'm not going to bite your head off or something. Not that guy. Caller wanted to know if there will be a mass exodus from Guam because only GovGuam employees and the homeless can afford to live here. It's possible. I'm not gonna say no. I remember, what was it, 2000, 2001, back in those years. Kevin, you've probably got a little bit of memory on this. Our number one export at the time was containers filled. We got 40-foot containers, 20-foot containers that were filled with household goods, and a bunch of people. Some of them listening right now online. Some of them you might be able to see online in the Facebook Live. There's people that are listening from off island because they just couldn't make it here anymore. Just couldn't hack it. There's other places where you can go, and there's a trade-off on everything, right? You got to leave your family and friends and the jobs and the 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week beach thing that we've got going on. You got to get away from that and punch into a whole different lifestyle where you got to plan for 2 weeks in advance if you want to go to the beach and hang out with buddies or something like that.
I don't know. I remember the late 80s and early 90s as boom times.
They were boom. Yeah, they were boom times. And then the bottom fell out of the Japanese market.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Checks in the mail from the government of Guam. Here's your $1,000 rebate. Yeah, we actually had money back in those days.
And then things went off.
Yeah, then things went off. I can't tell you. There's a number of people I can think of right now off the top of my head that don't live here anymore. In some cases, they're ex-girlfriends, and that's a good thing. But I'm saying I throw things like that out just to make Mike laugh. I just want you to know that's the sole thing. I'll say it, and then I'll look over there to see what kind of response I got from him. But there were a bunch of people that left town back in those days, and goodbye. Might come back if somebody dies. Might come back if somebody is born. But otherwise, maybe liberation. But they're living in San Antonio, and they're living in Dallas, and they're living in Southern California, if there's room for them, because all of the rest of the Chamorros are there.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of them up at Bremerton, Port Orchard area.
That's a nice area.
You go to the Kitsap Mall. You see the security guards up there? Used to work at the police department.
Yep.
Used to work at the Guam Police Department. You think I'm lying? I think it's an interesting question. So as the cost of living goes up here, people are going to start looking around, and all of a sudden, where we've kind of turned a blind eye, we might bristle about it, we might gripe about it, and say, wow, gas is $4.23 a gallon. But hey, at least this, at least that. Well, now gas is $4.23 a gallon, and the cost of water is going up, and the cost of power is going up, and the government of Guam lives like the Kardashians, and so the cost of everything is going to go up because of a BPT increase. I wouldn't say mass exodus, but and I think Ken Leon Guerrero makes a good point in a recent editorial that he did. I think there are people that might be considering that move where maybe they wouldn't have done it years ago. Maybe now they're going to go ahead and make that consideration. Hey, I know a guy in San Francisco. Don't go to San Francisco. Do you think the cost of living is high here? Yeah, big time there. Don't go to Hawaii. Cost of living high there. I'd wave you off from Washington State as well. There's some really nice things about Washington State. Traffic is not one of them. Federal Way, 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That's it. You're stuck. So those are the thoughts. I appreciate you giving me a couple of seconds to talk about it. I think it's an interesting conversation. You just mark the people that are here now. Mass exodus. We would become economic refugees. Is that how you want to categorize it? Economic refugees. We just gotta go, baby. Maybe.
Yeah, and that may have already started. I'm a member of several Facebook groups, buy and sell things on Guam and stuff,
me too.
They're leaving island sales in multiples every single week.
Right. Need a new ironing board. So if you see one of those, let me know. Just and mats for the bathroom. I need some new ones like that as well. 6:47 in the morning. All right, a bunch of other things, and if you don't mind, just one other rant before I start getting into the actual news things that are worth talking about. I spoke with Glenn Leon Guerrero. I don't know. I talk to him all the time. Is it last week? And I'd asked him a question about abandoned vehicles, because there is an abandoned vehicle right in front of the Commercial Tire Center in Barrigada Heights. And it was last week. It was just a parked car. And over a couple of days, obviously it's abandoned. And on the third day, it's like the Easter story. Crucifixion, third day, he rises again. On the third day, while this car was out there, now there's no tires on it. Somebody's gone in and taken the tires. So we all of us that get to ride on Route 8, all of us now will get to watch the long, slow process of this vehicle get vultured. It'll just get picked apart. Huh? There might be a license plate on it today, and then you're going to go tomorrow and there won't be a license plate. In fact, I think they already took the license plate out in the back. Right now, the trunk of the vehicle is closed, but maybe tomorrow when I pass by, it's going to be open. And there's junk strewn around the whole place. And the reason why I asked Glenn was because I wanted to know who, at the end of the day, is responsible for it. You know, as it turns out, who at the end of the day is responsible for it?
The mayor's?
Glenn. Glenn's responsible for it. Somebody, is that him on the phone? Hey, Glenn.
Hey, Ray, how you doing?
I'm okay. I just I was using your name here because we were talking about an abandoned vehicle and nobody went to go get it. So it's going to get slowly picked apart, and pretty soon it's just going to be a rusted out chassis of a car on Route 8 that everybody's going to see.
I forgot about that.
Hey.
I'm sorry.
What?
I got distracted.
You got distracted. What did the governor call you and say, hey, forget about what Ray said. Do the thing. I need you to do this.
We don't do stuff like that.
Okay. All right. So it's somebody's got to go and do something about that. So right there on Route 8, everybody's going to see it.
That tire place?
Yeah, right. Just if you're headed in from the 8, 10, and 16, right-hand side of the road, just send a wrecker out there and put that thing out of its misery. I honestly, I feel for you. I know you're responsible for it, and I know that there really isn't much of a plan on what you can do with something like that. Find the last registered owner of it and send them a bill for the towing.
No, I have a meeting with GPD this afternoon, coincidentally at about 2. So I can bring that up and see if they can track down who owns that, and then see what we can do from there. Yeah. I'll put that on my to-do list.
So what are you going to meet with the police department on?
We track fatalities, crashes, stuff like that. So it's traffic crash data.
Now, I'm trying to remember where I read it. There's a story in somewhere this morning. It's probably the Post where they're talking about among the things that you need to do is to be able to, at the end of an accident that causes damage to public infrastructure, guardrails, telephone poles, all of that. There's supposed to be a mechanism, a straight line between the accident and the owner of the car, the insurance company, so that somebody can pay for it. So the next time somebody goes over the chain link fence over the Chinese park, we don't have to wait until DPW has money and time to go and repair it. The insurance company can get that repaired.
Yeah, we have that is a program. Unfortunately, it's not, and that's part of the things that we're trying to automate. If we can get that automated, I don't know if we can get that across the line. Let me take 2 steps back. I'm meeting with GPD because they're switching over. We have a mechanism or a data system that allows GPD they go online. I mean, they get on the system and then they're recording your traffic, the traffic crash, and basically you pull from that. And when you get into a crash and you want to go to the insurance company to fix your car, it takes like 3 or 4 days for that to happen because they got to do this processing thing.
Yeah.
Well, they're going a level up. They're getting a new system, and so they're actually going to have it, I think, in their patrol cars or whatever. It's just going to be. I don't know. I'm just. That's
wow.
What I understand. So hopefully that may be true or not. You got to ask Chief Jay about that.
Well, if I get a chance, I will. Then the other thing that occurs to me is while we're having this conversation, we had another auto pedestrian accident last night, and I don't know, maybe there needs to be somebody, you and J.I. and the governor, and tell everybody wear bright clothes when you're walking around the dark streets. Not everything is lit up as well as Tumon is.
Yeah. I don't know the details of this last one. I do know the details of the last two, but the one on Monday morning and Sunday. Anyways, so in answer to your question, what we have a mechanism that once we get the crash or the accident, the police report, it not only has all that other information, who did it, but the more important information for me is it has what the insurance companies are. And so if we can get that, then we have a person that actually calls the insurance companies and says, fix whatever is damaged and government property that's damaged. And when the contractor is done with it, give us a call. We'll go and do an inspection.
Mm-hmm.
Give us say no problem, and the insurance company pays the contractor. So we don't get involved in the procurement or anything like that. We just want to
make sure that somebody is getting close to bringing it whole. I got a couple other questions on that, but John wanted to chime into the conversation with you. John, good morning. You're on with Glenn, Leon Guerrero.
Hi, good morning.
Hey, John.
Hey, I just wanted to ask, is anyone taking care of those? I guess there's some guys that used to fix tires if you're northbound Marine Corps Drive, kind of by Wipeout Bow. Looks like they just left all their tires and everything left on the side of the road there.
Oh, I see that. I see that all the time. I know what you're talking about there. Yeah, there's guys that they'll put together these fly-by-night kind of pop-up tire shops, and they leave the place generally in a wreck after they're gone.
Roger that. They left all their tires, canopy pipes. I mean, we're so, infiltrated by all these little things here and there, but is anybody regulating these guys and making sure they clean up their mess?
Glenn, what do you think?
Yeah, well, my realm of responsibility is actually on the the government easement. If it's because that's my property. If it's on federal property, I don't know if it's on local property or even other government property. But I think I know somebody that I can probably tap and see what we can do, and we'll talk and see what I know. What he wants me to do is find a way to deal with tires in general, because he's an environmental guy. I'm talking about my brother Ray.
Yeah. The short answer is I think everybody in the government would be responsible for this, regardless of which, whether he's on federal property or in an easement or something like that. He's just off the side of the road, and they're these guys. I'm sure there are no business licenses. It's just a guy with a bunch of tools, and he'll take the old tire off the wheel and put the new tire on, and the driver drives away, got the new tire on the car, and the guy decides, well, I'm done at this place, and like a locust, we'll move on to somebody else. My guess is, John, it's probably the same people that were doing it on Route 3 for years.
Right, but what's interesting is, like you said, do they have a business license? They're putting tires onto vehicles. How do you know that they're doing it right? Is it safe? And then you're coming down Marine Corps Drive, and someone says, "Oh, here it is," and then they slam the brakes and try to turn off the road. It's kind of like the folks that, are trying to sell fish right off of the side of the Marine Corps Drive, and people slam their brakes and try to turn last minute, which is a huge safety. It's something waiting to happen.
Hey, put that down on the list of things to talk about with JI today. Maybe a little bit of man in blue enforcement.
Right. That's not. I'm actually not meeting with Jay. I'm meeting with Alex, the data guy.
Oh, okay. We'll put together another meeting with somebody. John, that's a good point, and it's in his head now. Glenn's got it in his head, and unless the governor calls him on something important, he's going to remember it.
Well, Glenn, I do want to say you're doing a great job. We've been hearing a lot of talk amongst the heavy equipment, how the weight restrictions and everything. People are starting to slowly get in gear. So we appreciate what you guys have been doing.
Oh, thanks,
and y'all have a good day.
Right on, buddy. That's nice to hear. It's nice to hear somebody that says, there are things that you're doing, and I'm sure nobody likes the additional regulatory stuff, the additional compliance, but as he says, people are, quote, getting in gear. Did you get that when he said it?
Yeah.
I thought that was cool. Hey, Glenn, I'll talk to you pretty soon. I appreciate you getting back to me on that other deal, and if we could work things out, then it would be good on the abandoned vehicles. It just if you leave that one there, it's going to spread like a cold in the family, and every major road is going to have some vehicle that somebody just I got drunk. That's as far as I could make it. Walked away.
Yeah. Well, that's unfortunately we're already having that. So.
I know it. Well, you got to stay on top of it. Broken window theory, right?
Roger that.
Okay, I'll see you pretty soon. Have an awesome morning, Glenn.
You too.
All right, man. It's tough, man. You wake up in the morning and the guy on the radio's talking about you, says your name 3 or 4 times. Oh, but I like his answer. At least he's honest about it. I forgot.
You should be the one in here making those calls.
I got a whole bunch of things to do, worry about with my job over at DPW, and you get this. You're talking about one car on an isolated strip of road, and you want me to jump and do something about it? And the answer is, yeah, I kind of do. Closing in on a minute or so before 7 o'clock in the morning. Golly, there's so much more to talk about besides all of that. And John, thanks very much for the reminder that there are guys that will spend all week long messing up a chunk of roadway and putting tires on cars and leaving the tires and the scaffolding and all of the other crap laying around for somebody else to pick up. Like I said, sounds to me like a job for a policeman. Gun and a badge will solve a problem. Maybe that'll help solve some of the other problems. I got a note to talk about that in the next hour as well. 7 a.m., we are KUSG, The Point. Coming up next, Fox News Live. On the other side of that, you want real news, not fake news? Kevin Kerrigan from the Guam Daily Post. That's ahead right here.
Live from New York, The Fox Report.
I'm Rich Dennison. Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg still undergoing questioning by members of the U.S. Senate over his company's privacy policies.
Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg says he's responsible for mistakes made by the company he started in his Harvard dorm room.
We didn't take a broad enough view of our responsibility, and that was a big mistake.
Zuckerberg says changes have already been made to better protect users' data, respond to hate speech and other objectionable content, and limit foreign influence. But senators are also asking about whether new regulation should be required.
I think legislation is necessary. The rules of the road have to be the result of congressional action.
And Connecticut Democrat Richard Blumenthal did get agreement from Zuckerberg to cooperate on proposed measures.
Fox's Jared Halpern. President Trump canceling a planned trip to South America this week so he can oversee any U.S. response to the deadly weekend chemical attack on civilians in Syria. The U.S. working with France and the U.K. in talks about a response to that attack. President Trump still not happy about a federal search warrant executed on his personal attorney yesterday, calling it an attack on the country and an end to attorney-client privilege. White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders says the White House was not given advance notice of that raid.
I would refer you to the Department of Justice on the process and who did or did not sign off. That's not something that we were a part of.
Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell says he doesn't believe lawmakers need to pass legislation to prevent the president from firing the special counsel.
I don't think he's going to be removed from this office. He shouldn't be removed from the office. He should be allowed to finish the job.
The Assistant Attorney General can fire the special counsel at the president's request. U.S. stocks rallying today on news China might ease its trade policy. The Dow closing 428 points higher. S&P up 43, NASDAQ up 143. You're on the Fox Report. Fair and balanced.
you think about better water, think Kinetico softened water. Kinetico water conditioners work like no other, supplying a continuous flow of luxuriously soft water without disruption and without use of electricity. After all, better water flows from better thinking. Kinetico.
American Water Tech. Smarter water, better water. Call American Water Tech at 649-2301 or email info@americanwatertech.com.
Every time I travel, there's something from home that I can't leave without. I take my Docomo Pacific Data to Go to share my stories in Taiwan, check subway routes in Tokyo, be my food guide in Hong Kong, meet new friends in the Philippines, make updates in the States, find my way around Korea, and check out all the cool shows in Singapore. It's the data I have in all the places I love for only $10 a day. Data to Go from Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Philadelphia police say a 12-year-old boy toting a loaded military-style rifle and his 19-year-old brother with a handgun have been arrested after displaying the weapons in a dispute with another boy. Both face gun and terroristic threat charges. The cost of dealing with global disasters reaching a new high.
Insured losses last year reached a record $144 billion, according to Swiss Re Reinsurance Company. As for total losses, they were $337 billion, twice as high as the year before and second only to 2011 when Japan was hit by an earthquake and a tsunami. The study blaming much of 2017's economic damage on an active hurricane season in the North Atlantic, with Harvey, Irma, and Maria racking up combined economic losses of $217 billion, less than half of that insured. Insured losses from wildfires around the world also hitting a record last year. And the company says projected climate change is expected to create more frequent and severe fire events. Lillian Wu, Fox News.
The maker of Necco wafers warning it may close its Revere, Massachusetts plant.
The chalky candy that has been described as tropical drywall and plaster surprise, this according to the Wall Street Journal, still has legions of fans, with consumers in candy stores trying to get their hands on whichever Necco products they can get, including Mary Jane's, Squirrel Nut Zippers, Clark Bars, and Sweethearts. Necco CEO Michael McGee reaching out to Revere's mayor, warning that Necco would be forced to shut down if they can find a buyer and make layoffs as soon as May.
Fox's Hillary Barsky. A vacation planner is urging selfie-free trips. The tour company Off the Grid says your phone can distract you, so they plan unplugged holidays. The small group tours emphasize activities like surfing or dining with a local family instead of sightseeing or taking photos. For emergencies, you get a dumb phone without internet access. I'm Rich Dennison, Fox News Radio.
This time, let's hear it from the first KFC female colonel.
Smoky Mountain Barbecue, fried chicken so crispy and sweet. That crispy fried chicken. All right, stop, I can't do this. I thought if I dressed up like a country music legend, it would help KFC sell my delicious new Smoky Mountain Barbecue.
KFC, it's finger licking good.
In illness and in wellness, Calvo's Select Care is health care that is there for you. That's why over 80% of the Guam medical community places their trust and insures with us. We offer our members wellness and fitness programs for a healthier lifestyle and provide a comprehensive medical network on and off island to help members from unexpected illnesses. Contact Calvo's Select Care today for more information.
For over 55 years, Community First has served our island as a full-service financial institution. And now, we're proud to introduce the new Community First Student-Run Credit Union, open in Manilao on Route 10, Guam's first student-run financial institution, which means it's operated by college students like us, ready to serve all our members, existing and new. We're just down the road from UOG and GCC. Community First Guam Federal Credit Union, now open in Manilao. This credit union is federally insured by NCUA.
Stop by any Circle K today and overload your For Real. It's simple. Pick out your favorite For Real shake, blend it, and then mix and match any two toppings for only $1. Overload your For Real with a variety of sweet treats like Oreo cookies, gummy bears, classic M&Ms or peanut M&Ms, and Reese's peanut butter cups. Simply add them to your For Real shake for an overload experience and enjoy. For Real Overload, only available at participating Circle Ks. Circle K, take it easy.
Triple J says yes. Zero down? Yes. 1.9% financing? Yes. Easy trade-in? Yes. No payments for 90 days? Yes. We'll have you saying yes, too, to these amazing deals. Like our big boy truck, the Ford F-150 at only $217 per paycheck. Or the top safety pick Mazda CX-5 Sport at only $194 per paycheck. Or turn heads in the Mazda 3 Sport or the sleek and sophisticated Kia Soul. Both for only $129 per paycheck. Visit us online at triplejguam.com. Some conditions apply. See dealer for details. Triple J, customers first.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 7 a.m. this Wednesday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. The Archdiocese of Agana's former chancellor has been named in a civil complaint filed in the District Court of Guam as the alleged abuser of a then altar boy, Reverend Adrian Cristobal, accused of sexually molesting and abusing the former altar boy between 1995 and 97 at the San Vicente San Roque Catholic Church in Barrigada. The former altar boy, who used his initials LJC to protect his identity, is represented by attorney David Lujan, who filed the lawsuit yesterday. The lawsuit alleges the first incidents of sexual abuse occurred when LJC was just 12 years old. In an email to the media overnight, Tony Diaz, the communications director for the Archdiocese of Agana, advised that Father Adrian is still a priest of the Archdiocese. However, he is on an off-island mission at the Diocese of Phoenix. Given the news of the lawsuit, however, Diaz said that Father Adrian is now being called back to Guam. A public hearing was held yesterday on a bill that seeks to ban and criminalize abortions for women 20 weeks into their pregnancy that are not covered by specified exemptions. Bill 232 was introduced by Senator Dennis Rodriguez. Yesterday's public hearing drew a large crowd of people to testify, and the testimony extended well past 8 last night. Among those testifying against the measure was attorney Anita Areola, who said she opposed it because it is an extreme, unconstitutional political interference in a woman's most personal medical decisions. However, Bobby Pelkey, a state deputy of the Knights of Columbus, testified in support of the bill. He said lawmakers have to consider the moral implications of their votes and reminded the senators that the Catholic Church opposes abortion because abortion, he said, is a moral evil. We'll have more news after this.
Chili's lunch combos for just $10. Start your lunch with your choice of a Bud Light, iced tea, or Coca-Cola. Plus, free bottomless chips with salsa. Then choose a variety of fresh entree options like our savory beef enchiladas, quesadilla explosion salad, or our Cajun chicken pasta. Experience fresh flavors in every bite with Chili's lunch combos for just $10. Available Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. At Chili's, fresh is happening now.
At Micronesia Renewable Energy, values matter, so all of their solar energy systems come with guarantees and the most value. No shortcuts, all quality. It's giving you that solar energy system at the best price. It's using highly efficient solar panels with typhoon-proven racking, built by highly skilled local technicians, so your system performs and saves you money. It's total peace of mind all the time. Not all solar companies are created equal. For experienced quality solar, it's MRE. Call 632-2613. MRE, the smarter choice.
News time here at The Point is 11 minutes past 7 a.m. The Guam Visitors Bureau is making payments to travel companies using marketing funds to help bolster the number of charter flights to Guam. The Visitors Bureau paid $800,000 last year and budgeted $1 million this year, and that's already been exhausted. During an informational briefing called by Senator Dennis Rodriguez Tourism Committee yesterday, GVB President Nate DeKnight said that the charter support program began last year. DeKnight said GVB wants to provide marketing support for those flights to make sure they're full and encourage them to do more flights. Nico Fujikawa, acting director of tourism research at GVB, said that the charter support program is only to soften the blow from the loss of seats from United and Delta. He called it a short-term solution. It all boils down to air seats, said GVB Board Chairman Milton Morinaga. He said the charter support program is a tourniquet to make sure we don't lose the demand from Japan. A pedestrian was struck by a pickup truck yesterday evening while trying to cross Marine Corps Drive near the TikTok electronics store in Tamuning. Happened about 7:45 p.m. The man was struck as he left the Gangnam Market and headed across the street towards the Tamuning Plaza Hotel. The injured man was taken to Guam Memorial Hospital. His condition has not been released, although he was reportedly conscious and responsive at the scene. Guam has seen at least 4 pedestrian fatalities less than 4 months into this year. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Here's Ray with some weather.
You know, just looking over the metrics on our Facebook stream here, and delighted to see so many people online. Considering that the majority of Facebook users are not watching us today, you know what they're watching?
Mark
Zuckerberg.
Right.
They're watching him and getting grilled in the hot seat, and trying to stand up for privacy rights of the users of Facebook, and to make a point. One of the senators asked him, speaking of privacy, would you be okay with us telling people what hotel you stayed in last night? And he's like, ooh, no, I don't want you doing that. Yeah, it's the same thing, Mark. Some things we like to keep to ourselves. Partly cloudy skies today with isolated showers. East winds up to about 20 miles an hour. Expected daytime highs going to be 89 degrees. Your overnight lows, 77. Have you felt the breeze recently coming out of the east? Man, that has just been gorgeous. Sunrise this morning was at 6:10. Sunset tonight at 6:33. We'll have sunrise again tomorrow because that's the way it works. Sunrise, sunset, sunrise, sunset. So we'll have another sunrise tomorrow, probably about 6:09. Weather relatively dry. East winds 10 to 20 miles an hour through much of the week. Computer forecast models are still showing a better chance of rain Saturday night through Monday. So be prepared maybe for some of those big thunder bumpers like we had on Friday. 7:13. That's news and weather together here on The Point.
Come out for the 4th annual Chucky Run and Fun 5K, 2K, and Flyaway giveaway. Join us Saturday, April 14th at Chuck E. Cheese's Guam. Show at 5:30 and go at 6 a.m. T-shirts, medals, and other cool prizes, refreshments, and indoor activities after the races. Grand prize drawing for all participants is a trip package for 2 to Manila. Register at Chuck E. Cheese's Guam. $8 for students, $12 for adults, and Group of 4 Super Saver for just $35. The 4th annual Chuck E. Run and Fun 5K, 2K, and Flyaway giveaway. See you there.
Portions of the program brought to you by my friends over at King's Restaurant for decades now, 40 years, serving Guam favorites to families just like yours. Always open, always local. King's.
Looking for a reliable power system when the power goes out? Kohler Power Systems are quiet, reliable, and dependable. And they stay that way with regular service and support from the team at Morico Equipment because they also offer qualified after-sales service and support for Kohler Power Systems. Kohler generator systems are sold and serviced on Guam by Morico Equipment. You should call them now at 649-1946 or click moricoequipment.com.
I'm just going to talk until I know that Ed Untalan is listening again.
Okay.
Wait, let me just take a quick look. Let me see if he's there. He's there. Okay, he's up. Ed and Karen Untalan are now a part of our online chat, so I can say with complete confidence that he will hear his ad when I say portions of the broadcast brought to you by First Hawaiian Bank, where it all starts with yes.
Don't wait another day and waste another dollar. You can start saving today. At Guahan Insurance Services, we are here to help protect your investment and save you money. We offer insurance advising for business, car, and home insurance. So come and visit us at our new office at Camacho Landmark Center at Marine Corps Drive in Tamuning, and let us show you that you can count on us for all your insurance needs. Call 475-1162.
The Coconut Wireless is back. Watch and listen live on thepoint.gu.
Dude, and it's digital. It's digital now, the Coconut Wireless. Back in the old days, it was just analog, man. We used the same wire that the old man used for the Belam Bautuzan, and that's how we made the communications. But now we've got this whole digital thing going on, a digital radio station and a digital backbone here with Facebook Live and websites like thepoint.gu, and people chiming in saying what time Simon is going to call in to blow smoke to justify the rate increases. We probably won't be in the clear for that until 7:30, and at 7:30 we'll hear again from Joey Duenas, the commissioner of the Consolidated Commission on Utilities, and he'll spend some time talking about that and how, you know, while the rates for water are going to be going up, don't worry, because everybody's income is going to be going up as well as a result of the increases in I don't know how that's going to happen. But mark my words. Now, the last time I said it, I was right. And then I stopped being on the radio for 2 years. But I'll say it again. There are people over at the legislature that might be desperate. They realize there's 53 people that have gone to pick up packets now, and they want the 8 seats that are remaining, right? And they want to fill up the rest of them. So there's a bunch of people over at the legislature that are going to be desperate, and it will happen. Sometime between now and, I don't know, let's call it liberation. Somebody is going to come out with a increase in the Minimum Wage Act. They're going to come out, they're going to pick up where BJ's has left off and talk about how the only way that we're going to be able to meet the challenges of the increased costs and blah, 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 BS, is an increase in the minimum wage. Will drive all of the other prices up. Yes. So it's going to happen. Brace yourself when it does. Get ready. We'll fight like we're married, and it'll be wonderful. But it's going to happen. Watch how that works.
But the cool thing is we'll have automated meat flippers at McDonald's.
There's going to be that. People are going to be looking at the jobs and saying, I guess I don't need you working for $16 an hour to sweep the floor. I'm going to do it myself or privatize it, outsource it. We'll bring in the kids from the house and make them do it. Who else is playing around? We got Ed Untalon listening, and Adonis Mendiola. Frank Tejito is online. Luann Lacey, who is relocated to Spokane, Washington, is in there as well. I see Therese Matanani. John Wigston is on. John is nodding his head. Whenever I say things that bash the minimum wage, my friends like John always they nod. They go, yes, Ray, you keep going.
Is our favorite town tuned in this morning?
Which one?
That one song.
Which one?
That one.
What, that town? Tumwater? Ramona Nakamura, Lynn, Vince, Bora, Polino. Too many names. Carl and Jerry Gutierrez, just enough names. Mike Tagora, Lawrence Alcairo. Hey, bud. Dave Duenas, Paris Mendiola Blas, and Felix Regis. Lawrence, which of the candidates do you want me to say nice things about? I'm just asking. There's somebody in there. Did I already say Paris Blas is on? We'll always have Paris. Felix is on. Josephine Blas is on. Josephine is going to tell me that remind me again how they're not going to be able to take people up on the helicopters. Anyway, a whole bunch of people just like you, and thanks for sharing your mornings with me. 7:19. The music in the background is supposed to be market report music. So yeah, let me get to some of that here in just a second. Hey, is it refreshing now? Is that what's going on? Because all of a sudden I lost virtually all of the data that I was going to do. Tell you what, let's do the extra point here and give the internet time to catch up with my mouth. Here is Jerry Roberts from GuamTraining.com and today's extra point.
It's never a good day when a valued worker tells you they're leaving. It's a horrible feeling. I'm Jerry Roberts, and let's find out why it's happening next on the extra point. Many years ago, I hired a young woman to help organize things, organize me, and to help me sell our services. Her name was Mary Ann. She wasn't sure how well she'd do. She'd never sold anything. I wasn't sure either. Blessedly, she exceeded both expectations and was a big asset to our company. I visualized great growth and her being a big part of that. Then, one day, she announced she had accepted a job with one of Guam's premier employers. I was stunned. She said she would love to stay, but the compensation was far greater than what we could afford to pay. She was right. This company had headquarters elsewhere, and it assembled a package of benefits I couldn't even buy locally. So even if I had matched the salary, it still wouldn't have mattered. We lost her. If you lose someone under those circumstances, where the compensation elevates them to a different level, while not pleasant, it's about as good as that sort of thing gets. I mean, come on, you'd probably do the same thing, right? What if they leave you for a small increase, say an extra 5% in pay? How would you feel about that? I've seen people turn down offers like that to stick with a current employer just because they loved working there. The intangibles, usually a fun environment and a boss who takes pretty good care of them, outweigh the extra money, and they stay. But if your worker walks anyway for a relatively small add in money, in their exit interview, you need to ask and get a good answer on the question, what could I and we have done to keep you here? The answers you get back might help you salvage the next potential loss. Still, it was more money, and if you wish, you can rationalize that. But the next two situations won't afford you that opportunity. What if they leave for a similar job that pays the same as they're making now? That's a tough one. If they're going into a new field with different opportunities, it's a new challenge and exciting. I get it. I understand the need to move on. But to quit for the same kind of job, for the same money? Why would they do that? Could that indicate a problem? Let's go a step further. What if they leave for a similar job for less money? Well, in almost all such cases, you can reasonably assume they're leaving the manager, and they just don't want to be in that environment any longer. If some of these scenarios have happened to you, consider it a wake-up call. Find out if there's something about how you manage the team that others just can't tolerate, and it makes them want to head for the door. That's the Extra Point. Get out there and make something good happen today. For 93.3, I'm Jerry Roberts.
7:22 in the morning. Yeah, that's tough for people, especially in this business, where you got guys that they stick around, they build up some kind of reputation, and they think, well, I'm going to go to Gibson, and I'm going to say, hey, the guys over at the other radio station want to hire me for another $2 an hour.
Right.
Bye.
Yeah.
And, well, I thought maybe you'd counteroffer with $3. No.
That all sounds vaguely familiar.
Nope. See you pretty soon. Have a good life. Where are we now? Time to take a look at what happened on the market. If you want transcripts, by the way, of what Jerry was talking about, the GuamTraining.com and the World Wide Web, and you can get all of them, all going back to the very first one in February. So what happened on the markets today? Did anybody make any money? Did I make any money? More importantly, yes, I made money. Today, the Dow Jones Industrial Average at 24,408 picked up 500 points, or I'm sorry, 428. I'll be a little bit more accurate. I'll round it up to 429, up by almost 2% here. NASDAQ is green by 143 points, 7,094 in the S&P 500 at 2656. And why is it? Why is there good news? Why is it green on the markets? Because Zuckerberg's talking to Congress, and Facebook. There's a lot going on with Facebook. Their shares are the best that they have seen in 2 years. He's been able to take this nonsense that they've got with privacy and meddling in the election accusations and all of those things, and I think just being able to go to Congress has done wonders for Facebook. So that's not a terrible thing at the end of the day for the shares and the equity holders.
Right, and we can't rule out the fact that China has actually blinked to Trump's talk of extra tariffs, and they said they will start reducing the tariffs on some of their products.
Sometimes you just got to be tough.
And North Korea says, well, maybe we don't need a nuke.
So North Korea, it's in my notes here, May or June is when they intend to have the Trump-Kim Jong-un summit. Now, we've talked about this. You know how I feel about this. I want them to do it here. I want the governor to send a note to Washington, D.C., and give Pudding something to do. Pudding, you get with somebody at the White House and you tell them that we have to have the summit here. And the reason why we have to have the summit here is because Guam is the tip of the spear. We were the ones that were shaken, literally, by all of these talks of nukes. And forget about Hawaii. That didn't actually happen. That was some idiot pressing the wrong button, okay? That was a false fear that those guys were feeling. Out here, it was the real deal, and we're the ones that freak out every time those guys test a nuke. Every time they test a missile, we're generally worried that it's going to be coming over in our direction. So we are the ones that probably had the most impact on it and the most to gain from it. Now you're going to go, well, it's a summit. It's probably not going to happen here. There's got to be some way that we can get ourselves in the middle of this. And one of the things that I want to have, it'll sound like one of those Ray Gibson tongue-in-cheek things, and it's not meant to, because I really believe about this. I really believe this. If we have a summit here, or if we can get something like it close, then it gives us the sort of moral ground to build a monument.
To who? To what?
To peace, Kevin. To peace. It'll be the Korean Peace Monument. And it'll be, people will fly in from both North and South Korea once we've struck the peace, and they'll lay wreaths there, and we can do memorials to the people that died on the other side of the DMZ in North Korea.
Tourism numbers will soar.
Okay, you said it. I didn't. I'm trying to make a big deal about peace in our time, and all you're thinking, you just dollar signs in your eyes. See how I did that? See how I did that? Did you see that?
That's it.
This is why sometimes he sits there in silence. But no, I'm with you. That's it. The people will fly in from all over the place and stay in hotels and drive rental cars because they're going to want to visit this peace monument that we're going to build on a place. And even if they don't come, I'd say build it on a place where we'd say they were going to be. So like next to the Festpac pavilions at Chamorro Village, we'd say that's where it was going to be, and that's where we'll build. The Korean Peace Monument. What do you say, guys? It's a beyond brilliant idea. I know you're crazy about it. You just don't want to say. All right. Well, let me take the last look at some of the markets. I already told you where the Dow ended up. What are we doing for currencies here? Japanese yen. Whoa, 107.2 to the greenback. I like it when it moves in that direction. Wake me up when it's 110, and please God, don't let it be in the summertime. We'll get around 110, $115 yen. Then we're going skiing at Niseko, baby.
Nice.
And when I say we, I mean me.
Right.
We're going, going skiing up in Niseko, and gonna drink $7 beers at the Hilton. They got a nice Hilton there. They got, my favorite thing. I'm sorry, just kind of distracting myself. Sure. My favorite thing about the Hilton that they've got up there is there's, and I'm sure all of the other, no, forget that. They have an onsen. You know what an onsen is?
No idea.
It's an onsen it's a swimming pool, but it's set at about 120 degrees.
Ah, okay.
It's hot. You get
that's
in
like the kind of thing a little monkeys swim in.
You go like that. It's that's the idea. You go and you get yourself clean. You literally clean everything because you don't want to carry in dirt and sweat and stuff into the onsen water. Because if they see that, they'll go, stupid gaijin, and have to drain and sanitize the thing.
Wow.
So you go in there after you're clean, and it's freezing, bitter cold outside. But awesome. Inside the onsen, you're sitting, basically making yourself into soup.
Nice.
And after, at the one at the Hilton, though, the men's onsen has a set of stairs that you go up. And then it goes, you open a door, and then you're outside.
Wow.
In the cold, in the -5. And then you dip yourself into another onsen that's outside.
That's very cool.
So from your neck down, you're at 120, 125 degrees, and from the neck up, you're freezing. And it's fun. Every once in a while, you bounce up and down and do all of that stuff. It's crazy fun. And we need to do that. 7:30 in the morning, about time for a break. Headlines with Kevin coming up.
So you want to buy a house, but you don't know how much you could borrow. So what do? Well, you come to Bank Pacific and get pre-qualified. Sit down with one of our home loan specialists and let us see how much we can lend you so you know how much you can spend on your new home. Bank Pacific, where we're open to closing your loan in a hurry.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender, conditions apply. Come pre-qualified today.
Yeah, I'm telling you, surprisingly little traffic out there this morning. I'm not seeing a whole lot of traffic slowing down anywhere. Building in some of the usual places, Marine Corps Drive south, and not even getting crazy over at 1 and 3. Must still be earlier. Maybe everybody else stayed in and tried to rewatch Altered Carbon last night. I don't know, but there you go. Juan Benitez on the Facebook says, what do you think the impact will be on tourism, specifically Japanese tourism? I don't know. I'll ask Nate, ask Milton, see what those guys have to say about it. I'm just saying it would be nice if we had the summit here and make it clear that peace really is their intent, and maybe that will get folks from all over, including Japan, to say, hey, I guess Guam is still a safe place to go. And to have the summit here, no doubt, if we were to have the summit here, maybe a few people would get out of their way and get off their duff and clean the place up and make it look good and stop leaving abandoned vehicles on Route 8.
I think without question it would send the tourism through the roof. I mean, seriously, an international treaty convention held here. That puts us on the map forever.
Trump, just the journalists that would fly out for it. I mean, that's a bunch of airplanes. That's a bunch of hotel rooms that they got to stay in. That's a whole bunch of beer they got to drink in the lobby bars. 7:30 in the morning, and time right now for headlines from the Guam Daily Post. Here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 32 minutes past 7 a.m. In the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning, Guam Waterworks Authority customers can expect continued rate hikes over the next 20 years as the agency attempts to raise $1.2 billion to fund projects to upgrade the island's water and wastewater infrastructure. The rate hikes are part of a proposed updated water resources master plan presented to members of the Consolidated Commission on Utilities yesterday afternoon. GWA anticipates the cost of service will rise 4.5% each year for the first 6 years beginning in 2019. By 2025, the annual rate increases will taper off to about 3% until 2037. In terms of dollars, customers using up to 5,000 gallons a month can look forward to an average annual increase of $2.89 for their monthly regular water bill between 2018 and 2027. The utility estimates that the monthly bill for this consumer group would rise to about $120 a month for water and wastewater services by 2037. United Airlines announcing yesterday that it will add 20 additional flights from Tokyo Narita and Nagoya to Guam in August. The additional flights are being added to meet high Japanese travel demand during the summer holidays, according to a release from United Corporate Communications. 13 of the flights will come out of Tokyo Narita. 7 will be coming from Nagoya. Guam Visitors Bureau President Nate DeKnight thanked United for its commitment to the island, saying this will definitely have a positive impact on our economy. Vanuatu and China are denying a media report that Beijing wants to establish a permanent military presence in Vanuatu. Australia's Fairfax Media, citing unnamed sources, reports that preliminary discussions to locate a full military base on the Pacific island nation have been held. The report says that the prospect of a Chinese military outpost so close to Australia has been discussed at the highest levels in both Canberra and in Washington. However, Vanuatu's foreign minister, Ralph Regenvanu, rejected the report, telling the Australian Broadcasting Company no one in Vanuatu's government has ever talked about a Chinese military base on the island of any sort. A Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman called it fake news. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
7:35, that's iConnect time. Connect longer for less with iConnect's push-to-talk mobile and internet plans.
For more than 40 years, we've managed our island's most precious resource, your health. Take Care's benefit plans allow members access to more than 120 medical providers, 40 dental providers, and 18 pharmacies in the region. Take Care's health plans ensure members in Palau, Saipan, and Guam receive the care they deserve. Our programs and wellness classes have proven results for our valued members, and our commitment to your health never been stronger. Take Care. Our island, your health plan.
It says here, time for a Cold Stone break. I want you to try the new strawberry shortcake and fresh lemon pie ice cream. Mix them with your favorite fruits, nuts, candies, or the golden Oreo cookies. You know, a favorite in Kim Jong-un's camp.
Yeah.
He just loves these things. Just crazy about them.
Really,
Cheeseburgers and these golden Oreos.
You can look at him and tell.
You can eat like a despot.
Nice.
Cold Stone Creamery and the Guam Premier Outlets in the Micronesia Mall.
When you think about better water, think Kinetico softened water. Kinetico water conditioners work like no other, supplying a continuous flow of luxuriously soft water without disruption and without use of electricity. After all, better water flows from better thinking. Kinetico.
American Water Tech. Smarter water, better water. Call American Water Tech at 649-2301 or email info@americanwatertech.com.
Yes, money is something we should talk about and plan for and use to make life better. It's how we make our giant leap from where we are to where we want to be. So let's talk together and work together to check off shiny new kitchens, fully nested dorm rooms, and bucket lists with more countries than our passports can hold. Let's check them all off together. First Hawaiian Bank. It all starts with yes. Member FDIC.
Matt Phillips saying, I saw that on YouTube, what Ray was talking about, the cold Japan experience. I like Japan in the cold. I don't care for Tokyo much in the late spring and except for the what do you call it? The cherry blossoms being in bloom. That part I like. But as it starts to get hot and muggy, because Tokyo's right off the harbor, I'm just never crazy about that.
I need to go there someday. Never been.
It's Disneyland. The entire country is Disneyland, right? Akihabara, right there, is Disneyland. Nice. And then there's a place called Roppongi, and Roppongi and it's just lit 24 hours a day.
Wow.
Just incredible country. All right, so just a real quick look, because I was looking at the traffic maps, and honestly, in the last couple of minutes, it does look like it's gotten busy, particularly trying to get out of Route 3 onto Marine Corps Drive. That intersection by GRMC will snag you down. It will slow you down. Get traffic northbound on Marine Corps Drive headed away from that intersection. Traffic is building there. Traffic is building southbound from Waisang Song through. Anything else that you need to worry about? Looks like we've got a little bit of congestion moving around Tamuning as you make your way up to St. Anthony and the schools out there. Sorry, that's wrong. I'm looking at a different roadway for that. By GPO, we've got a little bit of a slowdown heading towards the ITC building. And then 8, 10, and 16, traffic is clear through there, but once you get south of that intersection, you are going to have the usual slowdown until you are past Teedson High School. Glenn, I got to remember to ask Glenn one of these days. We need another way. I did ask him that, didn't I? I did. About opening up the other intersection.
Yes,
There's another door. But he forgot that, too.
Yeah, he did.
Anyway, 7:38. There's another quick look at traffic for you on the point.
This time, let's hear it from the first KFC female colonel.
Smoky Mountain Barbecue, fried chicken so crispy and sweet. That crispy fried chicken. All right, stop. I can't do this. I thought if I dressed up like a country music legend, it would help KFC sell my delicious new Smoky Mountain Barbecue.
KFC, it's finger licking good.
Relax, enjoy, and be greeted by the spectacular view of Hagåtña Bay when you visit the point at the Sheraton Laguna Guam. Gaze into the beautiful sunset as you unwind to the music of Philip Garcia and Natasha on Wednesdays, Mama Shar and Nina on Thursdays, Philip Garcia and Louise Munia on Fridays, and Jack Larimer on Saturdays. Open daily from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Happy hour from 5 to 8 p.m. with all cocktail drinks for $7. Receive a discount when you present your SPG card. Call Peter Yaban at 646-2222 for reservations at the point at the Sheraton Laguna Guam Resort.
In 20 minutes, it'll be 8 o'clock in the morning. You found the Ray Gibson Show on the point. Hope you find it entertaining and informative. The informative part, that ain't me, guys. That's Kevin. Kevin's got to take care of the journey with all of the big stories that are out there and that are floating around, and some of the fun stuff. Although the last thing that is fun is any conversation about rate hikes and increases. And what did you say it was going to be in 2037? Was for 100? How much?
$120 a month.
$120 a month.
Estimated. It's all proposed. Nothing's finalized.
Wow. Okay. Well, let's see if I can get to the ground a little bit more on this. Joey Duenas, Consolidated Commission on Utilities Chairman, and we talked about everything except increases at GWA yesterday. Good morning, Joey.
Good morning, Ray.
Hopefully, don't sound so happy because they're proposing to take more money out of my pocket. At least sound contrite. Say, oh, hello, Ray. How you doing there? How's your dad?
Ray, here's the way I would put this to you. We had a system that almost failed completely in 2000, and we brought it to a point where now it's working well. Now we need to bring it to the point where it's actually providing the service, the level of service people want. I don't know if you've ever heard people complain about their pressure, for example.
Just the other day.
Yeah, there are a lot of places where they have 2-inch water lines. You know, back in the day, long time ago, people came out and developed their property. They had 20 acres. They cut it up. They put a 2-inch water line. That was the only requirement. It had to be a water line. They only put in 2-inch, maybe buried it 4 or 6 inches below the dirt because it was easy. Cut it up. The first house, good pressure. By the time the 20th house got built in there, no pressure. So now we have to build our infrastructure up, and we have to make improvements. And the focus of the improvement, by the way, Ray, was on the compliance issues with EPA. Boil water notice, you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
So we had to get to safe drinking water and clean water, cleaning our ocean. So we were dumping raw sewage into the ocean.
I remember. I still freak out a little bit when I'm in the old Sleepy Lagoon area. I'm wondering if it's safe for me to dip my toes in it still.
Oh, today it's safe to dip your toes in it.
Okay.
Today it is safe. But when you do something like that way, when you put a plant up and you fix like the Agana wastewater treatment plant up, or you build a new one even like the Agate Santa Rita plant, after 10 years, 20 years, you still got to maintain it. You got to put more money into it. And, you know, that's the difference. We do planning. GPA and GWA do planning. So let me give you a picture. The plan was developed in 2006, really kind of came into its being in 2007, 2008, right? In the past 10 years, this plan, 30% of the plan has been completed. 40% of the plan is ongoing. 15% of the plan is getting ready to get started. And 15% of the plan was determined to be not needed because some of the things we did took care of that problem.
Right.
So the takeaway here is, one, we do real planning at GPA and GWA, okay? And we use the plan. We don't take the plan and put it on the shelf. There are a lot of places that take the plan, do a plan. How many land use master plans do you know about, Ray?
Just off the top of my head, in the last 10 years, maybe 5.
Okay, and where are they? Did they ever get implemented?
The director moved. That's usually the story. Is whoever it was that cast the mold for it within 6 months of the paperwork coming through, they're moved to another department or agency and continue to ride the GovGuam horse. I hear what you're saying, and this is not new, and I've been a part of the conversations over the years. You know, I recognize between consent decrees and growth in different parts of the island, unexpected spurts in the population all of a sudden. And never mind the fact that a lot of the miles and miles of pipes, big and small, were put there even before you were born, and had almost no maintenance on that. I get the idea, and I don't relish where we are here today. So I'm not going to be one of those guys that's going to freak out about the rates going up. I know it's got to happen. I know there's work that needs to be done out there. But the question is, how do we mitigate this? How do we, as Milton said at the legislature yesterday, how do we soften the blow? How do we soften the landing for this, for the ratepayers? What can we do about the demand side management of our water and wastewater, so that it's not going to be just bang automatic? Our rates are going to go up.
Okay.
And don't forget the federal side. What can we do to go back to the federal government, and especially since a lot of this was based on consent decrees on EPA rules that we were never ever going to be in a position to meet sometimes.
Oh no, we're meeting our EPA rules now. We're meeting all the permit requirements that are posed on us, and we're going to meet even more. But, Ray, there's so much more I have to talk to you about. But let me start with this. You mentioned something that I really like. You see, people don't realize the number one job of the Consolidated Commission on Utilities, you know what that number one job is?
Raise rates? No, way. Sorry.
Hire the general manager.
Oh.
That's the key. You got to hire a good general manager. So hiring a general manager, giving him the vision, good utility services at the most cost-effective price, and then giving him the budget, giving him the tools he needs, supporting him, that's the key.
Well, I like Miguel, and he's not as noisy as some of the other guys that we used to have. I remember David Craddock and the tumult. There's a word I borrowed from the governor. The tumult that he caused, and in some cases, kind of a black eye that he gave to GWA and from among many people in the community. So I'm cool with that.
So we had 3 general managers from off island, all left. Now we've got Miguel. Miguel's doing a great job. He likes everything we're doing. Okay, getting back to what you're talking about, how do we soften this? Well, you see, Ray, I was actually on the PUC a long time ago, ages ago. Started back in 1985. I was the first chairman. Simon was the vice chairman. We were trying to struggle with how do we set up lifeline rates? How do we help the bottom people, right? The people on the lower end of the social spectrum, the economic spectrum. So we came up with a simple lifeline. First block of rates, everybody pays less. And as you go up, consume more, you pay more. Well, that kind of is nice, but it doesn't quite work because sometimes the people who need more water or more power are on the bottom end of the economic spectrum. You know, so one of the things we are looking at, both at GPA and GWA, more on GPA and GWA, really, and I'm going to tell you the reason why in a minute, is we're looking at GWA and we're trying to come up with how do we really do a lifeline rate, a real lifeline rate. How do we determine, how do we help those people who need the help most? If my water bill goes up in Jotnia, and people look at me and say, well, Joey, you've got a business, you know, you're doing something, lucky you. So they're not going to be too concerned about the fact that poor Joey has to pay a big bill. They look at Simon Sanchez. Hey, he's a businessman, doing well. I would tell you he's doing well. Nobody's going to look and say, boy, poor Simon Sanchez. But they're looking and saying, okay, the person down in Agate, the person down in Yamaga, how do you help them? And that's what we're looking at. We're going to try to come up with that, okay? The two utilities, GPA and GWA, and Ray, I have so much to tell you, but the two utilities, GPA and GWA, are affected by technology, but they're affected differently. The kind of technology you have is they either have disruptive or you have incremental technology. Disruptive technologies like the smart meters, smart grid. So GPA has actually benefited from technology. Renewable energy, gee. So we're doing a lot of investments. We're able to say things like we're going to put in some new generators. We're going to put in more renewable energy. We're going to find a way to cut your costs, and that's the key. But we're able to do that because there's disruptive technology, something new, game-changing. On the water and wastewater side, there's not that disruptive technology. There's not something where you can say, okay, all the stuff that comes out of your toilet, it's just going to go up into the air and it's going to be fine. It's going to float out to Mars somewhere. No. So what we have is incremental technology. How do we improve some of that stuff? For example, we have 82 lift stations around the island. A lift station is where the sewer gets pumped somewhere, and then it has to go over the hill. Like all the sewer that comes from Chalampago and that area. And comes
yes. Tumon. Tumon does the same.
Tumon does the same. It's got to pump it up, right? But we have 82 of those lift stations around the island. And that's a lot of power. That's a lot of cost. How do we simplify that? We're looking at how to do that. So the technology there is incremental. How do you make incremental progress? Because all the technology, both technologies.
And you sit around and you hoping in 5 years, you know, digital technology, different manufacturing techniques, different materials that go in there. We might get more efficient pumps that use less electricity, and see if we can use that to offset some of the cost that we would normally pass along to the ratepayers. And then the other part is leakage. You got to make sure, and there's two kinds of leakage for the utilities. There's water that leaks out of a pipe, for which is not going to get metered, and then there's the other one where you've got people that aren't paying. So address those, if you will.
And we are, and we have. We keep working on our meter project. We keep doing things and making improvements. And in the next 20 years, see the 20-year plan that started in 2006, we're now updating it. So we're looking at the next 20 years. In other words, a plan is a living document, constantly live it. That's the difference with GWA and GPA. We do planning. We have engineers, we have staff. We really know what we're doing. So we are planning out the future, and when we look, those projected increases are just projected. As we go forward, we may find ways to do things better.
That was going to be my next question based on that. If we're talking over $100 for a month's worth of water service, clean water and wastewater, I mean that's ridiculous in my mind. I mean, somebody's showing me a water bill for $60. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Really?
I think so, yes.
No, I have to tell you, you have to. I would argue that water is so important because it actually affects your health. You don't pay attention to the water system. You allow it to deteriorate.
Well, no, it's not. That's not my point. I think it's expensive. I think wastewater is expensive, and the whole plan. I think the water is expensive, and I'm wondering where the breaks can be found. I got at least one listener is wondering about did we get pay raises at GWA and GPA, and is that going the new rates going to support those new wages?
I will tell you, Ray, that I'm a big fan of paying people what they're worth. One of the big problems we have in the government of Guam, and it's all over the newspaper. Tax having problems with still doing a manual system. If you want to take advantage of technology, you have to bring in people and you have to pay them what they're worth. You don't pay them what they're worth, you're going to end up with what you have at Tax. A paper system. What did the OPA say?
OPA says we got to get rid of it. It would probably spend more money. We probably would save money almost immediately if we started in with some good technology. They got the same problem at Guam Memorial Hospital.
Yes, same thing. So I'm saying to you, no, I believe in paying people what they're worth. I believe in getting the best qualified people. We have engineers that work for us because we're going to pay them what they're worth. I don't know how many engineers they have at Public Works, but I remember one time I think they only had one engineer.
I think you're absolutely right, but they were able to outsource some of the other stuff that only needed an in-house guy to review. And so, is it possible? Is it possible that we could outsource some of those things so that the burden doesn't fall necessarily for all of the administrative and additional costs on the ratepayer, and competition might be able to provide as good or better employees?
I would say to you that we are looking to outsource every way we can. In fact, that's why the plants that we're going to build, the new generation, is going to be with a private-public partner.
Fair enough.
We are looking to do the same thing at GWA. So we are looking at that. But at the same time, you can't outsource everything because then you don't know the product you're going to get. And in the case of GWA, Ray, you pay a price because EPA comes in with fines, even GPA, but more so with GWA. I mean, you don't want to end up with a system that happened where you have to bring in a receiver to take over the landfill.
I thought we might get close to that one of these days. Somebody had talked years. The original version of the Consolidated Commission on Utilities, you'll recall when it first came up, among the first things that they pondered was the possibility of privatizing the entire Guam Waterworks Authority.
And I would tell you that would add to your cost. That wouldn't reduce your cost. There are private sewer systems in the States, not everywhere, but they have small little pockets of private sewer systems, and their costs are not cheap. They're higher because don't forget, they have to pay taxes. They have to make a profit. We make a profit, but we put all the profit back into the company. In other words, all the revenue that we generate, a lot of that money that we're going to look at to spend, $1.2 billion over the next 20 years, and it may be more or less than that, maybe more than that, but that's the planning. The next 3 years, you kind of know what you're going to do. Out in 20 years from now, that's kind of like, we should be doing this, we should be here. So it's a little bit grayer, you know what I'm saying?
Well, every long-term plan I've seen, including the ones that I've put together, generally require some kind of change one way or the other. As I said, I'm looking at some of the numbers that you were talking about, and even though it feels far, far away into the future, it's still something that I need to consider. So I'm looking for breaks here for the ratepayer. Joey, are there any federal dollars out there that?
Oh no, we get a lot of federal dollars, Ray. We get a lot of EPA, what they call state revolving fund grants.
Mm-hmm.
We get an average of $8 to $10 million a year. They're big funders of us, and they like us. Well, they like us because we're doing work.
Anybody willing to give us anything in the billion-dollar range?
No, but here's what I was trying to get at, Ray. The $1.2 billion is not all going to be borrowed. Some of it will be able to generate internally as we find efficiencies. So we're going to have to borrow some more money. It's just like the original plan, the plan that we are talking about right now, was originally price tagged at $900 million. The current 2006-2008 plan, master plan, the one that I said 30% is already completed, 40% is ongoing, 15% is just starting and will be finished soon. Okay, and 15% was decided to be not needed. Okay, and that was $900 million. What have we borrowed? We borrowed $600 million. That's what we borrowed.
Yeah.
So we didn't borrow $900 million. We found certain things we could do. There are certain efficiencies.
Right. So you borrow less and you're easier to manage for sure, and perhaps down the road options to refi. I understand the tools.
And then I need to point out one other thing. One of the things that we do is we try to run like a business, and we are good at it. We're so good that both GPA and GWA are investment grade rated, and the bondholders like us. Every time we sell a bond, there's 10 times more people that want to buy the bonds than the bonds we have to sell. And so we're getting good interest rates. By the way, I know there was a downgrade recently.
Yeah, I was going to say, I wanted to bring that up.
Okay, out of the three.
But it's not your fault. I'm with you on that one. It had to do with everything else, with the whole Guam's budget and going off the rails.
But Ray, what you have to understand is there are 3 bond rating agencies. Only Moody's ties GWA and GPA to the GovGuam rating. The other 2, Standard & Poor's, Fitch, don't. They haven't done a thing. Because but they're all concerned, and we understand their concerns, that if the government is a customer of GPA and GWA, they must pay too. And so they're wondering, what's the impact on that?
Mm-hmm.
So they're wondering, okay, if the GovGuam worker goes to a 32-hour work week and gets less pay, what's the impact to that? Because they all have to pay their bills too.
No, noted. I understand their overarching concerns, but at the end of the day, if the government of Guam doesn't pay its bills, GWA and GPA will shut them off, which is something that has changed since I was a little kid. GWA and GPA, the water companies and the power companies, would always be late with their payments until I'm trying to remember who it was that finally started shutting off valves in the schools and making it so that they pay attention to the bills.
That was the CCU, and it started when Simon started the CCU in 2003, no problem, and it continues to today. We're very nice. If you notice, we don't really talk a lot in the media because we just do our job. And so we work with the governor and work with the legislature and tell them, look, we work with John Fernandez at the schools. We try to help them every which way. We have a pilot program, for example. Some of the money we saved on GPA's refunding, we're trying to do a pilot program on one school. It's going to be a small school. We want to try and put some renewable energy on top of the school and see how that works. And see if we can come up with a way to put in a process, a plan of how to do that. And if we get it right and it's successful, then we have a process to follow and replicate at all the other schools, okay? Because we don't mind doing this.
Well, there's guys that you can talk to about that. I mean, I'm just saying, look in Hawaii, Joey. There's a bunch of great programs that they did for folks of lean income, where the banks got involved and would help subsidize the cost of putting these solar deals in. There was a great program that they had.
I like exactly what you said, because you see, in Hawaii, the government of Hawaii, the state and city government actually do the subsidy.
Right.
Hawaiian Electric doesn't do the subsidy. It's the city and state government. And in the schools, listen, this is what I'm trying to finish with. If we could do one way, because, you know, they passed the law, remember, to put alternate renewable energy in schools?
Vaguely.
Yeah, it never went anywhere, right?
30 seconds, Joe.
Okay. So what we're doing is we're trying to see if we took some of our money that we saved on the bonds when we refinanced it and put it into a pilot program for the schools. And if we could pull one off and show a really nice process of how you do this from start to finish, then we can replicate that. Then it simply becomes a question of funding. How do you get money to do this?
Right. Well, we'll find the places to do it. I got to break away here, Joe. I've got seconds enough for the ID. I appreciate your time, and we'll definitely get you in the studio and have a big rollicking conversation about all kinds of stuff. This is KUSG. I got you.
Taking the blame. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg tells senators he's responsible for the data mining scandal that's engulfed his company and promises to do better. Fox's Jared Halpern live in the hearing room.
One type of question Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg has faced from several senators is this.
Would you support legislation to back that general principle, that opt-in, that getting permission is the standard?
Massachusetts Democrat Edward Markey wants support for a privacy bill of rights. Zuckerberg's response.
I've said that in principle I think that makes sense, and the details matter, and I look forward to having our team work with you on fleshing that out.
Zuckerberg says his company is tightening rules for apps that use your information and hiring thousands of new employees and designing AI technology to root out hate speech and other objectionable content. Lisa.
Jared, no action from the UN Security Council on the apparent chemical weapons attack in Syria.
An American-sponsored resolution condemning the use of chemical weapons, allegedly by the regime of Bashar al-Assad, failed because of a Russian veto. It called for a fully independent investigation of the attack. United States Ambassador to the United Nations Nikki Haley told the council Moscow will do anything to protect Assad, even as he kills his own people.
They are not interested in unity or compromise. Whenever we propose anything meaningful on Russia, Russia vetoes it. It's a travesty.
A Russian-sponsored resolution that, in part, let Moscow pick inspectors failed.
Fox's Eric Shawn at the UN. President Trump remains unhappy about yesterday's raid on the home and office of his personal attorney, Michael Cohen, tweeting this morning is an end to attorney-client privilege and an attack on our country.
The president has been clear that he thinks that this has gone too far, and beyond that, I don't have anything to add, but I'd refer you back to the president's comments.
White House spokeswoman Sarah Sanders, Fox News, fair and balanced.
Every time I travel, there's something from home that I can't leave without. I take my Docomo Pacific Data to Go to share my stories in Taiwan, check subway routes in Tokyo, be my food guide in Hong Kong, meet new friends in the Philippines, make updates in the States, find my way around Korea, and check out all the cool shows in Singapore. It's the data I have in all the places I love for only $10 a day. Data to Go from Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Hey, it's your stomach again. Subway has all new signature wraps, and around the water cooler, the other stomachs can't stop talking about them. Chipotle Southwest steak and cheese, turkey, bacon, and guac, rotisserie-style chicken Caesar signature wraps. Listen, if I'm honest, as a talking stomach, I don't have a lot of life experience. But I do know one thing. These signature wraps are jam-packed with meat. So what are you waiting for? I'm growling over here. Subway. Make it what you want.
Another staffing change at the White House.
Tom Bossert is resigning as President Trump's Homeland Security Advisor. The departure comes less than a month after H.R. McMaster stepped down as National Security Advisor. He was replaced by former U.S. Ambassador John Bolton. In a statement, White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders said the president thanks Bossert for his patriotic service and wishes him well. Democratic Senator Richard Blumenthal told reporters at the U.S. Capitol that Bossert's departure shows the White House is in chaos. In Washington, Rachel Sutherland, Fox News.
The first witness called in the Bill Cosby sexual assault retrial, psychiatrist Barbara Ziv told jurors it's common for victims to be reluctant to go to police and normal for them to maintain contact with perpetrators. Accuser Andrea Constand spoke with Cosby and saw him after she says he assaulted her. An actor and comedian under arrest for making a fake bomb threat.
TJ Miller faces up to 5 years in prison after being arrested Monday night at LaGuardia Airport in New York. The former Silicon Valley star allegedly called in a false bomb threat last month. He was charged with intentionally conveying to law enforcement false information about an explosive device on a train traveling to Connecticut, according to the United States Attorney for the District of Connecticut. According to documents, the incident caused 926 man-hours worth of delays, disrupting several law enforcement agencies and bomb squads in Connecticut and New York. Miller appeared before a U.S. district judge. He was released on $100,000 bond. Michelle Polino, Fox News.
Composer John Williams will be honored by performing rights organization BMI with an award bearing his name. The John Williams Award will be presented to him May 9th in Beverly Hills. Williams has won 5 Academy Awards throughout his career. The 86-year-old has received the Kennedy Center Honors and the National Medal of Arts. He's also won multiple Grammys and Emmys. Lisa Lacera, Fox News Radio.
Don't dump that cooking water down the sink. You can reuse it for other purposes, such as watering your plants or garden. After boiling pasta or steaming veggies, let the water cool and then recycle away.
Catch more clean and green living tips every day and get inspired to make a cleaner, greener effort in your community. Happy Earth Month from the stations of Choice Broadcasting.
Brought to you in part by Body Arts Dance Studio. Body Arts goes to Hollywood with their spring recital on May 6th, Sunday, at the Sister Roberta Center. Tickets are $10 each. Call 477-6622 for more information.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. Hafide, my name is Jesse Cruz from the village of Marina, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Protehi Tanomo. Protect your land. When it comes to your family land, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
On April 14th, join Bank of Guam for the first ever Hagåtña City E-Fit Run and Block Party to benefit the Guam Cancer Care and the American Cancer Society Guam. This event begins with a sunset run through our capital, starting at 5 p.m. at the Chamorro Village, and the excitement continues at our block party with food trucks, beer garden, live entertainment, and the Greatest Beast competition, and a fun-filled kids zone. The Hagåtña City E-Fit Run and Block Party, Saturday, April 14th, brought to you by Bank of Guam, member FDIC.
At Micronesia Renewable Energy, values matter. So all of their solar energy systems come with guarantees and the most value. No shortcuts, all quality. It's giving you that solar energy system at the best price. It's using highly efficient solar panels with typhoon-proven racking, built by highly skilled local technicians, so your system performs and saves you money. It's total peace of mind all the time. Not all solar companies are created equal. For experienced quality solar, it's MRE. Call 632-2613. MRE, the smarter choice.
Ready to buy real estate on Guam? Congratulations! But what now? There's so many questions, so many things to do. Where do you start? The best place to start is to call Century 21 Commonwealth Realty, Guam's biggest name in real estate. They aren't the best because they're the biggest. They're the biggest because they're the best. Trust the name. Find out why. Call Century 21 Commonwealth Realty today. 888-2121. Trust the best.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 8 a.m. this Wednesday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. The Guam Visitors Bureau is making payments to travel companies using marketing funds to help bolster the number of charter flights to Guam. The Visitors Bureau paid $800,000 last year and budgeted $1 million this year, and that's already been exhausted. During an informational briefing called by Tourism Committee Chair Senator Dennis Rodriguez yesterday, GVB President Nate DeKnight said the charter support program began last year. He said GVB wants to provide marketing support for those charter flights to make sure they're full and encourage them to do more charter flights. Nico Fujikawa, acting director of tourism research at GVB, said the charter support program is only to soften the blow from the loss of seats from United and Delta. He called it a short-term solution. GVB board chairman Milton Morinaga said the charter support program is a tourniquet to make sure we don't lose any more demand for seats from Japan. A federal indictment was unsealed in district court yesterday, charging Ernie Muñoz Valencia with attempted possession of methamphetamine with intent to distribute. Valencia accused of attempting to distribute 5 grams of meth on May 8th last year. The indictment was returned by a federal grand jury on April 4th, but it was sealed until Valencia was arrested on Monday. Valencia has entered a plea of not guilty. He was granted conditional release by designated Judge Michael Bordallo. Jury trial for him is set for June 13th. A public hearing last night held on a bill that seeks to ban and criminalize abortions for women 20 weeks into their pregnancy that are not covered by specified exemptions. Bill 232 was introduced by Senator Dennis Rodriguez. Yesterday's public hearing drew a large crowd of people, and testimony extended well past 8 o'clock last night. Among those testifying against the bill was attorney Anita Areola, who said she opposed it because it is an extreme, unconstitutional political interference in a woman's most personal medical decisions. Bobby Pelsky, meanwhile, is the state deputy of the Knights of Columbus. He testified in support of the measure. He said lawmakers have to consider the moral implications of their votes and reminded the senators that the Catholic Church opposes abortion because abortion, he said, is a moral evil. We'll have more news after this.
As we journey through the new year, we here at APL continue to find ways to better deliver our island's resources with innovative and cost-effective solutions, lending our helping hands by carrying your freight safely from the U.S. mainland or anywhere in our global network. We humbly honor the opportunities to continue to work and connect with you and your business. We are APL, and we are here for you.
This time, let's hear it from the first KFC female colonel.
Smoky Mountain Barbecue, fried chicken so crispy and sweet. That crispy fried chicken. All right, stop. I can't do this. I thought if I dressed up like a country music legend, it would help KFC sell my delicious new Smoky Mountain Barbecue.
KFC, it's finger licking good.
11 minutes past 8 a.m. here at The Point. The Archdiocese of Agana's former chancellor has been named in a civil complaint filed in the District Court of Guam as the alleged abuser of a then altar boy, Reverend Adrian Cristobal, accused of sexually molesting and abusing the former altar boy between 1995 and 97 at the San Vicente San Roque Catholic Church in Barragata. The former altar boy, who used his initials LJC to protect his identity, is represented by attorney David Lujan, who filed the lawsuit yesterday. The lawsuit alleges the first incidents of sexual abuse occurred when LJC was just 12 years old. Cristobal, who is still listed as a priest under the Archdiocese of Agana's clergy directory, is described as being on a mission. The lawsuit seeks $5 million in damages. A pedestrian was struck by a pickup truck yesterday evening while trying to cross Marine Corps Drive near the TikTok electronics store in Tamuning. It happened about 7:45 last night. The man was struck as he left Gangnam Mart and headed across the street towards the Tamuning Plaza Hotel. The injured man was taken to Guam Memorial Hospital. His condition has not been released, although he was reportedly conscious and speaking as he awaited transport to GMH last night. Guam has seen at least 4 pedestrian fatalities less than 4 months into this year. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Here's Ray with some weather.
Thank you. Partly cloudy skies today, Kevin. Some isolated showers. Easterly winds blowing to 20 miles an hour. Expected daytime highs today are going to be about 89 degrees. Your overnight lows are 77 degrees. Sunset tonight at 6:33 and sunrise tomorrow morning at 10 after 6. Still be careful with those open burning and lit cigarettes and flamethrowers and torches. Don't throw a torch out the car here today because the fire danger rating is still kind of up there. 8:13. That's news and weather together here on The Point.
When the power goes out on Guam, the little things can become surprisingly big. Small comforts are often the things we miss most during a power outage. That is why Kohler built the fastest responding generator sets in the industry. Whether you are at home or away, a residential Kohler generator will enable you and your family to live life without interruption. Kohler gas, LPG, and diesel power systems are available from Morrico Equipment, LLC on Epal Road. Call 649-1946. That's 649-1946. Don't forget to click on to MorricoEquipment.com.
MorricoEquipment.com, thepoint.gu. And a reminder that this portion is brought to you of the program brought to you by King's Restaurant for decades, serving families their favorites, serving local families their favorites for over 40 years. Or is it our favorite local families their favorite meals? I don't know, it's just, there's so many different ways.
Both of them work just fine. It's interchangeable.
At King's Restaurant, always open and always local.
Relax, enjoy, and be greeted by the spectacular view of Hagåtña Bay when you visit the Point at the Sheraton Laguna Guam. Gaze into the beautiful sunset as you unwind to the music of Philip Garcia and Natasha on Wednesdays, Mama Shar and Nina on Thursdays, Philip Garcia and Louise Munia on Fridays, and Jack Larimer on Saturdays. Open daily from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Happy hour from 5 to 8 p.m. with all cocktail drinks for $7. Receive a discount when you present your SPG card. Call Peter Yaban at 646-2222 for reservations at the Point at the Sheraton Laguna Guam Resort.
You got to call him, too. That's why we put the phone number in the ad, 646-2222, and ask Peter about, you know what I like about that? I go there every once in a while because she's right. There's a great sunset that they have there. And it's like anything else. It's like, oh, beautiful sunset. Okay, glare, that's enough. Close the window. Close the blinds. More Orion beer and less window, please. Can I get some of that? And as I said, they're very good about it. Portions of the program also brought to you by Security Title, making sure you actually own the property you think you just bought.
Chili's lunch combos for just $10. Start your lunch with your choice of a Bud Light, iced tea, or Coca-Cola. Plus, free bottomless chips with salsa. Then choose a variety of fresh entree options like our savory beef enchiladas, quesadilla explosion salad, or our Cajun chicken pasta. Experience fresh flavors in every bite with Chili's lunch combos for just $10. Available Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. At Chili's, fresh is happening now.
Morning talk that matters. The Ray Gibson Show. Any speaker, anytime. Call now. 888-TALK. That's 888-82 888-203-5555.
And here's the thing. It's a small thing, but you need to be here every minute from the time the show starts at 6 right up until I say my goodbyes at 10 o'clock. You need to be here every single minute of the program. Because here's the hard and fast truth. I don't know what's going to happen next. And most of the time, we're just brilliant around here, and I don't want you to miss any of that. If you do, if you're called away for an important meeting, the governor's on the phone. Can you pick up? I'm listening to Ray. Okay, I'll get. If something like that happens, then we've got the video on demand for you at YouTube after 10 o'clock in the morning. You can also watch these on demand on Facebook Live, so you can get caught up. That's why we put the little time hack here. We put this here so that you know what time it is, so that you can scooch through on your player and get to exactly the part that you want. Because some people only go, my favorite part is when Blake is on. Okay, so that's usually about 8:20. So you just scooch this thing over. But we're going to bring him on a little bit early today, 8:16 right now, and it's time for Sports with Blake. This is the one I like. Well, this is the one. Let's use this one every day. Because the other one is just kind of, there's another one that we use that's just kind of wimpy. This one here, it's got...
Yeah, this is actually...
This feels like a tackle.
Yeah, this is 6. I use 6 different ones because I don't want you to get bored, Ray.
6. We like 6.
6.
Tom Water.
Did you bring that hat with you, or did you get that hat while you were here?
No, this hat came from, I told the story this morning when I opened my show. Okay. Because I also have the visual radio doohickeys over there on my station as well. But no, second day in a row, we'll mention her. My younger sister, who was at the Ranger game enjoying a turkey leg on her Instagram story. Last season... Was it last season? 2 seasons ago. Okay. I think 2 seasons ago. Right. She went and she bought me this hat from the stadium.
Nice.
Yeah, so this actually came from the pro shop via her at one of the games she went to. I have 2 Major League Baseball hats.
Well, hold on, because it occurs to me that we can see what the hat is,
right?
But
Right.
nobody else can see what it is.
Oh.
It's a hat with this thing that looks like boobs.
Well,
okay, it's not.
I'm not going to argue with that.
I wanted to say it.
It's the official Texas Ranger baseball cap from Major League Baseball. It's their blue home uniform. It's so if you know what I'm talking about.
Do you have a hat like the one I described?
No.
Can we bring that one in? Would it be all right
I've
to
got
do that?
3. I've got 3. I've got my normal trucker hat. That one keeps me cool here with the Guam weather. Then I've got this one, and then I have another one. I got a Mets hat that I actually went to Citi Field in Queens, and I went to, and it was Thanksgiving, right? Like maybe a month after the season had ended. But I went to the pro shop because it was still open, and I bought my New York Mets hat from the Citi Field pro shop.
I don't know that. I remember Shea Stadium.
Yeah, Shea Stadium.
Yeah,
that was the
saw
one.
my first ball game.
Really? Yeah, no, that's right. That's right. You're from Shea Stadium was the the stadium that they played in. The Mets did, for anybody who doesn't know, before they built Citi Field, and it's a big sponsorship, CITI.
Yeah.
It's the Citibank field, but yeah.
So just on hats, I get a lot of hats, but I don't keep them all. I have a few that I'm really, really fond of. One is my NRA hat. The other one is Make America Great Again.
Yeah, you do have a MAGA hat. You got yours is interesting because it's the blue and white one.
It's made in China.
Oh, it's not the normal red and white one.
Well, I like it so much. But there's that, and then somebody gave me one from the Hooters in the Philippines.
Oh, okay.
Which I like to wear to harvest events.
Yes. It's got,
Because that's the way my brain bends. All right, so I've already done the introduction, and we wasted enough time on hats. So are there any sports scores of any note here today that we've got to get through? And remember, Sean Gumatautov's listening, and he's going to, if we miss a score in IIAAG girls soccer, there's going to be held. You're going to have to do something at the court.
So the latest I have in scores is when St. John beat Southern 3-0. However, Mr. Gumatautow, I do have IIAG girls soccer standings so far. So as it sits, St. Paul's sitting on top. They're sitting on top with at 2-1-1. That's a 2 wins, 1 loss, 1 tie.
Yeah.
JFK undefeated right underneath them, 2-0-0. They've played less games. Notre Dame, ND, 2-0 as well. Ukadu, 2-1. Sanchez, 2-2. St. John's, 2-1. Southern, they are 1-1, and they have 2 ties. Guam High, 1-0. GW, 1-1. Harvest, 1-2. And Tiedzen and Academy both undefeated. They have not won a game. Tiedzen at 0-3 and Academy at 0-4 this season so far.
And notes here. Good morning, Ray. I was wondering if you could actually, this came in yesterday, and I wanted to read it again because I don't know that Gary is going to be able to call in all the time, and remind the parents, if you've got kids between 5 and 15 years of age, there are 3 different age groups, 5 to 8, 9 to 12, and 13 to 15. There's going to be a kids triathlon race Sunday at the Marianas Yacht Club. To sign up your kids, go to the Guam Triathlon Federation Facebook page and click on the link. I don't know how much it costs, but it's like any athletic endeavor. If you can get the kids hooked on the exercise, a little hooked on training with mom and dad, which is always fun. Family that plays together stays together most of the time, and so you got that working for you. And then the other thing is you need to build into your kids. Don't count on the schools to do it, right? You need to build into your kids a serious competitive ethic, right? We want them to be nice kids, but we want them to make sure that they can kick the crap out of their, even their best friend. Even their best friend. I need to be better than you in everything. We need to make sure all of our kids have got that competitive edge, right? That's right. And this is a great way to do it. And we're talking about swimming and running and biking, and people always ask me, and they say, Ray, we know that you're not a triathlete, you like running, and it's because I'm not good at swimming. It's not that I think swimming sucks, it's just that I'm not good at it. Right. And as far as cycling is concerned, I can't afford it. Yeah, I can't. I can't afford any of it. The fancy shirts, they get those shorts with padding in the dogging part.
Yes.
Yeah, those are like twice as expensive as running shorts.
Yeah.
And then
are they heavier?
And then the bikes. And then you get in the bike, and you can go to Hornet and get yourself a couple of $100 worth of bike and be the happiest guy in the world until you see one of your buddies who's riding around in a bike that costs more than my first car.
Oh, they're so nice. I mean,
and they weigh as much as a manila envelope. You can pick them up with a pinky hair.
And some of them, you look at them from a certain angle, and they kind of disappear. They're so thin.
Stealth.
Yeah, they're just like, how come when I look at it like this, it looks like almost like flush with the wall it's leaning up against.
Get the kids in it for all of the reasons why I've recommended for you. Okay.
Good stuff.
Got anything else?
I do. Tomorrow is, I just wanted to let everybody know, because it ties into what we were talking about yesterday. Tomorrow is actually, every April 12th, is International Grilled Cheese Day.
Dave Alcorn might still be listening.
So,
deep fried.
Just letting you know. It's observed annually April 12th. Every Grilled Cheese Day. It originated... When would you think the grilled cheese would originate?
This sounds new. This sounds relative, because I know that a few years, maybe like 3 years ago, there was a surge in the obsessive millennial culture where they weren't satisfied with plain old, grilled cheese sandwich, right? Butter, toast the bread in there, stick the grilled cheese in there, and let it melt and ooze, and everybody likes it. A couple of years ago, I recall that there was this thing. It was a thing. It was cultural. It was a movement, zeitgeist. You could feel it. All of a sudden, everybody wants to have different things in their grilled cheese sandwich. So they were doing grilled cheese with tuna. Right?
Yeah, a little ham.
I can do that.
A little ham. You know what? Some people were even getting, they were getting very, very creative. They were, how about some herb-infused butter, Ray? To add a little, add some green.
Something
to your,
yeah. Nothing wrong with that.
The grilled cheese sandwich originated sometime in the 20s. When inexpensive sliced bread and American cheese became easily available.
That's right.
And they said that Navy cooks in World War II were also known as some of the first innovators, because they would broil them when they were out, to make them better.
I was out one of those overnights, one of the first. It's fun until you actually do it, right? It's the one where they say, hey, why don't you fly? We got a carrier, and why don't you stay overnight on the carrier? And you think, this is going to be great. Every journalist I know is everything. We stayed overnight in a carrier. You're not a real guy until you've done it. And then they go out there, and it's the most dangerous thing in the world, because you sit backwards in an airplane and you have no idea what the heck is going on, and it takes off regular on land, but when it takes off from the ship, it freaks you out, because you don't think anything as big as the craft that you're in is going to be is able to make it off the ship. So there's that, and in a carrier, there's a lot of stairs, a lot of walking up and down, and it's easy to get lost and lose your way in the carriers, because there's none of the mapping makes any kind of sense whatsoever. ever. And then it's a noisy, dirty, filthy industrial place filled with heroes. I'm going to say, I want to underscore that point here. But the other thing that I liked about it was when it got to be time to eat, we all went to the galley. And I didn't want anything else. I wanted grilled cheese sandwiches, and they had them stacks of grilled cheese sandwiches.
Did they?
It was that moment. It was that kind of moment.
Navy beans?
Oh, I could eat Navy beans all day.
But did they have them?
I don't recall. I was stuffing myself with grilled cheese sandwiches.
Okay.
So my family is on our family chat this morning. There's a story from today's newspaper says man hospitalized with rare condition after eating the world's hottest chili pepper, the Carolina Reapers.
I did this story earlier. They gave him thunderclap headaches, right? Is the same guy?
Could be.
I think you
don't actually expect me to read articles, do you?
No,
I just look at the headlines.
Just the clickbait.
Yeah.
I read that exact story. Yeah, I read a Carolina. I've seen YouTube videos where guys will crush it up, right, and snort Carolina Reaper powder. And I've also seen people smoke it, kind of put it in a, I guess like a water pipe, like a water bong.
You've seen the videos, or you were there when they did it?
On YouTube. On YouTube, and even like the big hookah pipes. I've seen guys actually put it in there and try to smoke a Carolina Reaper, and it looks.
Wow.
Instant regret.
Yeah,
instant regret. Right instant regret on everybody's face on YouTube.
This is the Tide Pod generation, my friend. This is the now all they're constitutional experts now.
Well, that's why we can't afford houses. We're too busy spending our money on avocado toast.
Yeah, and snorting condoms is.
Well, don't forget tasing your kids to get them to church.
Hey,
get up! It's Jesus Day.
It's not a day unless we can play it once, you know what I mean? So, all right, listen, 8:27, I know you got work to do on the other side. We got to prep Kevin up for his last headline cast this morning from the Guam Daily Post. I'm sure he's excited about that because it means he gets I'm done with the morning show. I can go to my real job over at the Post in Vamu. So we'll let you out of here. Going to take a real quick break and a couple of other comments before we get into the headlines. Be right back.
The Point Radio recently published the results of an unhacked poll asking opinions on the weakest gubernatorial team of Democratic candidates. The results show our people want experienced leaders. Governor Gutierrez has an impressive track record leading under harsh conditions, getting us through difficult times, and bringing a better quality of life to our people. The Gutierrez-Bordallo team offers more tested and proven leadership than any other team. Please vote Gutierrez-Bordallo on August 25th.
I'm Carl Gutierrez, and I approve this message.
You know what will happen when I'm not looking and we're just jaw-jacking about hats and Carolina Reapers is the traffic will get ugly. Route 16 headed towards the 8, 10, and 16 intersection. Traffic slowing down there. Traffic slowing down, leaning towards that from Route 8, so in the opposite direction. Once you're through that intersection, though, and you continue your trip down to the downtown area, expect delays until you get into Teedzin, and then it ought to be clear sailing until you get to about where Pokey Fry is. A little bit further north, we'll take a look at that right now. Nothing major. I'm seeing some traffic building in all of the usual spots. Traffic turning into Route 3 is looks like it's slowing down right now. It will definitely slow down later at 9 o'clock when they do some construction. That will be going on today and tomorrow 9 until about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. But expect congestion just anyway because it's dead, for heaven's sakes. Marine Corps Drive on the other side of Tumon. Once you get past that intersection, you're slow right up until you get to St. John's School, and then things will open up for you. Don't see too many other problems. If you see something that you think I need to report, 888-8255.
Yes, money is something we should talk about and plan for and use to make life better. It's how we make our giant leap from where we are to where we want to be. So let's talk together and work together to check off shiny new kitchens, fully nested dorm rooms, and bucket lists with more countries than our passports can hold. Let's check them all off together. First Hawaiian Bank. It all starts with yes. Member FDIC.
I want to say good morning to my friends online. I'm going to do shout-outs now, like old-school radio DJ kind. It says here, you can find us on Facebook Live, like Brad Dunnigan has. Nice to see you. There's Sonny Cruz, who's has an ARG moment this morning, driving through Tumon going, ARG, more road construction down there. Is it actual road construction, or is that the sewage? I mean, not the sewage, the rainwater. catch. They're supposed to be doing something along those lines. That's why you're seeing some of that kind of construction going on down there. Louise Munya is on. That's nice to see her. Maybe a question or two, if you want to, Louise, about the idea that you've got to avoid some of the, I don't know, more distracting policies of medicinal marijuana and just urge the body to go towards home cultivation of medicinal marijuana. And I'm curious about what that's going to look like. Glenn Busby, master of physical disaster, listening, talking about us doing triathlon stuff. Uncle Robert Underwood is there. Yuka Hechanova from the auditor's office is listening, making sure that my mathematics is correct. Whose birthday? Matt Phillips, who writes, my water company is privatized. Don't think the movers are interested to do that on Guam for whatever reasons. You'd have to go back to CCU version 1, and they talked about doing privatizing GWA once upon a time, and the conversation was met with howls, if you will, and the legislature put the kibosh on that once upon a time. So it's a conversation that we don't generally go back to unless I want to irk somebody. It's 8:30 in the morning and time for our last look at headlines from the Guam Daily Post. That's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam News Time here at The Point is 32 minutes past 8 a.m. In the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning, Guam Waterworks Authority customers can expect continued rate hikes over the next 20 years as the agency attempts to raise $1.2 billion to fund projects to upgrade the island's water and wastewater infrastructure. The rate hikes, part of a proposed updated water resources master plan presented to the Consolidated Commission of Utilities Board yesterday afternoon. GWA expects the cost of service will rise 4.5% each year for the first 6 years of the master plan, beginning in 2019. By 2025, the annual rate increases will taper off to just about 3% a year until 2037. In terms of dollars, customers using up to 5,000 gallons a month can anticipate an average annual increase of $2.89 for their monthly regular water bill between 2018 and 2027. The utility estimates that the monthly bill for this customer group would rise to about $120 a month by 2037. The Archdiocese of Agana's former chancellor has been named in a civil complaint filed in district court as the alleged abuser of a then altar boy. Reverend Adrian Cristobal, accused of sexually molesting and abusing the former altar boy between 1995 and 97 at the San Vicente San Roque Catholic Church in Barragata. The former altar boy, who used his initials LJC to protect his identity, is represented by attorney David Lujan, who filed the lawsuit yesterday. The lawsuit alleges the first incident of abuse occurred when LJC was just 12 years old. In an email to the media overnight, Tony Diaz, the communications director for the Archdiocese, advised that Father Adrian is still a priest of the Archdiocese of Agana. However, he is on an off-island mission at the Diocese of Phoenix. Diaz said that Father Adrian is now being called back to Guam. United Airlines announcing yesterday that it will add 20 additional flights from Tokyo Narita and Nagoya to Guam in August. The additional flights are being added to meet high Japanese travel demand during the summer holidays, according to a release from United. 13 of the flights will fly out of Tokyo Narita. 7 will be coming out of Nagoya. Guam Visitors Bureau President Nate Tonight thanking United for its commitment to the island, adding this will definitely have a positive impact on the island's economy. Guam's tourism industry has lost nearly 200,000 flight seats since last year when United began reducing its flights from Japan and Delta stopped flying to Guam altogether. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
So I'm looking in the Guam Daily Post today and checking the editorial. It's one of my favorite sections of the newspaper, except when the Post carries the stuff from what's the newspaper I don't like?
The New York Times, Washington Post?
Washington Post.
There you go.
Anything out of Washington Post is crap. But the editorial today, tourism leaders need to focus on real problems to reverse the decline. And as your editorials usually do, it sets you up with some facts and get you some numbers and get you some quality statements from quality guys. And then here comes the editorial part, is a quote, it's important to invest in the destination to keep visitors coming to Guam. We must also continue to develop and improve the visitor experience and provide visitors with the best experience to remain competitive in the region. So GVB must sharpen its focus. Forget blaming North Korea or the lack of airplane seats. The airlines will return or arrive if enough tourists will say they want to travel to Guam. But first, Guam must be more appealing to tourists. The drop in visitor arrivals tells us that that's the way Guam is. I'm sorry, I'll read that correctly. The drop in visitor arrivals tell us that the way Guam is no longer cutting it. It's not a sexy destination. There are parts of the place with the tourists see that look run down. And if I have to say it again, I will, starting with the god-awful, butt-ugly chain-link fence from the airport to Tumont. That's how they get down there, and that's the first thing that they pass in their rent-a-cars and the tour buses. And since we can't do anything about making it so the kids don't run pell-mell into traffic at 3 o'clock in the afternoon when we get out, can we at least put something up there that's a little bit more visually appealing than a chain-link fence? And the worst part is the drunks plow into it every once in a while, so it's not even the same color anymore. We got the green part, and then we have a silvery part that's been replaced and an old rusty part that the drunks haven't gotten to yet, and it looks ramshackle and ugly. We got to change it.
As GVB will be first to remind you, don't forget that last year was the record.
The record, but the numbers are supported by tourists that apparently don't have the same kind of spend as the Japanese. And so we're going to need to bring in a whole lot more of those tourists to make up for the drop in the spend. 2-3 times as many. Got the hotels for it. Got the rent-a-cars for it. Do we have the parking spaces for it? You want to talk about problems with air on it. Clean the place up, guys. And it isn't the government of Guam's job. It's not GVB's job. It's all of our jobs. 8:37 and change. That's iConnect time. Push to talk that works. That's what we used to call it. You can connect longer for less with their incredible push to talk and mobile plans.
How about when we lend you money for your home, we pay for your appraisal? That's right. When we make you a loan, we'll pay for the actual cost of your standard appraisal up to $1,500. Add that to our super low rates, and you'll see why so many people are coming to Bank Pacific for their home loan. So join them by joining us, Bank Pacific, where we're open to closing your loan in a hurry.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender, credit conditions apply.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. Buenas dan hafade, guau si Clareming Lotnya of Malolo, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Protehi itanotmu, protect your land. When it comes to your family land, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
Not necessarily the last look at traffic. If something bubbles up, I'll let you know about it. But looking at the maps, it doesn't look like anything has changed all that much. The addition, however, of a couple of places where traffic is slowing down, moving through Tselenpago and Mangilao up Route 10 towards the 8, 10, and 16 area, you can expect slowing down over by KFC for breakfast. KFC. That's the crunchy, spicy one that we had the other day.
Oh, the Smoky Mountain Barbecue. Yes. Man, I'm telling you, I'm still thinking about it.
Needs to. Can they? How do I say? You know how they get the spicy zinger, right at KFC. Sure. Wouldn't it be great if they could take that same crunchy barbecue and put that into the zinger presentation?
Truly.
I'm sorry, a culinary genius here. Try it, Lars, Frank. I want you to try it. Please try it out. Just figure out whatever it's going to take to get the and not the zinger. I want I want that chicken, but I want it made with the stuff that they gave us the other day, and then put that in the same bread that you guys use. That I want red rice and corn on the cob and mac and cheese, and then I'm perfect. And then that's all I'm going to want to eat for the rest of the week. I forgot what I was talking about. Okay, the weather. Traffic. So as you get towards Manila, is that over by Franny's Bar? Yeah, around that intersection, you might see some traffic slowing down as well, headed towards the gas station. It's 8:40 in the morning. You're listening to The Point. My name is Ray. Did I need to take a break? Did you want me to get Nate on the line? Yes? Hey, no. Yes or no? It's too late. I already picked up. Hey, good morning, Nate.
Hey, morning, Ray. How you doing?
How you doing there, buddy?
Hanging in there. Been a busy weekend and start of the week, but going pretty well so far.
Well, I'm glad. You know, I was reading up on the update here and that you had over at the legislature, and I didn't realize that you guys were doing this. What are you calling it here? The airlift support. We got to give it a clever name, the GVB charter support, where you've got these travel agencies and they're booking the flights. I mean, they're getting people into the chairs, but we've got a little bit more of an enticement for them to completely sell everything out and bring in literally plane loads of tourists.
Yeah, exactly, Ray. You know, we've been losing regular seats here in Japan, and so 2 years ago, we really, overall in our 2-year strategic plan for Japan, we really wanted to focus on a couple areas. Number one priority was to get more air seats because year after year we're losing air seats.
Yeah, you got no air seats. You got no show. Hey, Nate, can you do me a favor? I'm not nuts about this conversation. I'm not the conversation. The quality of the conversation. Can you snag me from a landline when you get a chance?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because it's kind of muffly, Bluetoothy, and it's no good on the radio.
Okay, no problem. I'll give a call back.
You the man. It's 8:41 in the morning, and he will too. He will call back because that's Nate. But
oh yeah, because
I was gonna throw my idea across about the summit.
See, it's an excellent idea.
It's brilliant. What are you talking about? I don't have excellent. I have brilliant, earth-shattering ideas. But since I'm not the governor, I have very limited power to do anything about it. Just to yak about it on the radio. And I know I'm not alone. Because the guy, Elwin asked a question. I think you're right, Ray. Guam has missed out on multi-million-dollar economic boost for decades because the island should have been used as a neutral hub for important political and business meetings between the U.S. and Asian leaders. Imagine what we could have brought in terms of media exposure, interpreters, delegations, etc. And that is in support of an idea that I shared with everybody this morning. And that is that we go to these guys, and the governor needs to send out very publicly a message to the White House and ask them to have the summit here on Guam. And even if they say no, that's okay. We're thinking about Switzerland or something, along those lines. Even if they don't, the sheer publicity. A, that there's going to be a summit, B, that everybody's working towards peace, and C, that we've asked for it here for all of the reasons that have been outlined before, including the fact that we were the first ones that were threatened by North Korea. They weren't, when they talked about being able to hit the United States of America, they were talking about Guam. That's what they were talking about. So I'd like to see the thing happen here. Nate, tell the governor. You know what?
Okay,
figure out a way to make it sound like it was his idea.
Yeah, I was. I'm kind of intrigued by the idea, so, kind of the notoriety that we would receive from that kind of nature.
Well, just by asking. I don't know what it is. It's still a fuzzy connection with you on the line. Yeah, I don't hear you as well. It sounds like something's in front of the little microphone hole on the phone.
Okay, yeah, let me try a different phone and I'll call back one more time.
Are you close? Just come in.
Oh, yeah, I'm down the street.
No, you don't need to do that. Just see if you can pick up the phone that's attached to the fax machine. Those things are always good.
Yeah, I try to find a landline. Not so easy nowadays.
I know it's tough anymore, right? Okay, just give me a ring back when we think we got a little bit more stability on the line. I can hear him and I can understand him, but I'm in the studio and have $200 headsets on, so I can hear the hairs in his nose whistling in that connection. But after everything goes through, even on FM, I worry that you're not able to hear it. So there's that online poll at thepoint.gu. Who would you rather have show up at your barbecue? Let's say you got something going on for the kids, right? Graduation ceremony, anniversary party, and you send out invitations to everybody, and and you look down the driveway and look who's coming. Which one of these is going to stir you in the heart more? Oh, he showed up. Oh, she showed up. Right? Who would you rather have show up at your barbecue? The number one answer so far is, it changed. Carl and Fred. Carl T.C. Gutierrez and cousin Fred Berdalio at 42.99. I mentioned that Fred Berdalio is my cousin, so it's my version of a disclaimer here. There's Ray Tenorio, and I'm going to disclaim that Ray and I have the same first name. He's a Ray, I'm a Ray, and there's that disclosure there. They're in second place at 49.53, and just absolutely lagging. Absolutely lagging. And maybe this is part of the marketing that you've got to do here. You got to do some personality marketing. Right. You got to get out there and show people that you are real human beings, Frank and Alicia and Dennis and Dave and Lou and Josh. And it's not enough to have parties where people come to you. Baby, you got to get out to where they are. This is marketing 101. Never mind the fishermen. Don't go where the fishermen are. Go to where the fish are. So go find those guys. Where, I know there's not a whole lot of opportunities right now for gatherings, or are there? I'm looking at my calendar, just the busy stuff that I've got going on, and Frank and Alicia, Dennis and Dave, Lou and Josh, you should never be in the same place at the same time. You guys need to be out. So you're running in pairs. So I'll give you an example. We've got the Chuck E. Cheese race that's taking place on Saturday morning. Nice. Mm-hmm. Right? One of you guys needs to be there. Mm-hmm. Frank or Alicia, Dennis or Dave, Lou or Josh. Mm-hmm. Somebody got to be at the 5K, right? And you know what you do? Even if they don't ask you to do something, just volunteer to MC.
Anything.
Volunteer to MC. Yeah, grab the microphone, do some giveaways.
Work a water station.
I love you. I am Lulian Guerrero. Here's money from the bank. I don't think she can do that. But you know what I mean? Just to find those opportunities there. Later on, there's going to be an even bigger one. Lou and Josh will definitely be at this one. This one here, they got to go together. And it's going to be where they're together at the Bank of Guam's big race Saturday night.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
So there's that. And then there must be 20 other things going on. There's Smoking Wheels. Is coming up in a little bit. I'm sorry, I have to call it by its brand name, APL's Smoking Wheels. And the APL guys are going to be in here in just a few minutes, and so we'll talk about their involvement in that and talk to them about asking actually an opportunity to talk to them about the shipping game, and in these terms here, kind of the regional shipping game. Because you don't realize, because we always think in terms of our own things that get Spam and Budweiser, all of that gets brought in on ships. But a lot of the Spam and the beer and the stuff that gets brought in and is left over at the port will go up to Saipan. And then that gets around. So I asked the question, how long does it take, a ship to get up to Saipan from Guam to Sugar Dock? And the answer literally surprised me. APL was telling me about how quickly they can get one of these from there to there. I will share that information with you when they get these guys into the studio. There's a couple of other things, and now is a good enough time to start talking about some of the headline stuff that I've frankly haven't had a chance to talk about yet this morning. So if you're waiting, if you were going, when is Ray going to get around to talking about some of the other stuff? We talked about the rate increases, and there's nothing to be done about it. There's nothing to be, you're never going to be able to get out from under it. The fact of the matter is, and it could be worse, guys. It could be worse. You think about the water problems that we have on Guam. And I will categorize this the same way that I categorize personal emergencies, any other anxiety moments, any of those ARG moments, right? Is that there are people, there are places that would gladly embrace your pile of problems in exchange for us taking their pile of problems. And you think about some of the utility maladies that you hear about every once in a while in other parts of the United States of America, and it's the same story. Once upon a time, somebody said, "Hey, we need to get water from here to there. We need to get poopy, dirty water from there to here, and let's put in the infrastructure." You know how long ago that was?
A really long time ago.
A really long time ago. And you know how much maintenance has been done on those pipes and in those? None until they break. That's the symptom. It broke. It's not we were watching it and it looked bad for a long time and then it finally broke. That's the symptom. It was working yesterday and it doesn't work today.
Yeah, that usually results in a big showery pillar of water somewhere.
Thankfully, we haven't had pillars of poopy, dirty water yet. So there we go. Amanda wants to know, what about generating food security for Guam and new revenue with agriculture tourism? Amanda, I'm with you there, and I think, how about new revenue with agriculture, and then we'll add the tourism angle after that. There's already people doing it. You remember there used to be that fruit farm down Telefofo. You make that turn into the village, and there was a sign there that said there's a fruit farm back here. Used to be one. The Kloppenbergs used to run this. I don't even think they remember. But not that they ran it, but they used to run tour buses up there. There used to be like a pineapple farm all the way up in Jigo.
Wow.
And there might still be little bits and pieces of some of that flora that might still be growing up there, but that was a big concern for a long time. And they would get Japanese on a bus and they'd take them up there, and then pretty soon you get the Japanese and they come back and they got coconut water to drink, and they got pineapple, fresh pineapple that came out of the ground right now. Nice. that they get to eat. So there has been agricultural tourism here on Guam, but in terms of food security. Yeah, this is the thing that keeps me awake at night. Is after the bright flash, and whenever my kids hear me say that, then they go, "Oh God, here it comes!" The bright flash, and you can refer to the bright flash whatever you want to, North Korea, or an accident, or the rapture, but what will we do if the planes cannot fly here anymore? Because they can't fly.
Yeah.
What will we do if the ships can't come here anymore with the constant supply of Spam and beer and all of the other things that I can't remember, because those are the staples, right? Those are the two things. Okay, Spam and rice and beer that come in on the ships.
They are the most important, after all.
So 165,000 people. How long do you suppose what's on the shelf and in the warehouses will last?
Yeah, and I think you probably need to add about another 30,000 people to that number.
Well, that's right. People in hotels.
Yeah, I mean,
so just think about it. So of all of the people that are going to be here, and what we've got in the shelves and in the warehouses right now, how long do you think that's going to last? Be gone. I mean, in a matter of hours, when people find out. You've seen the pictures of folks. Just watch what is it? That Brad Pitt movie, something Vitamin Z. The rapture, the apocalypse, whatever you want to call it, and that's the stuff that keeps me awake at night, because there's all of these people here. And I don't know about you, but I don't know how to fish. If there's a coconut way up on the tree, I might have to wait until it falls before I can eat it, because I don't know how to go up there and get it. I haven't needed to know how to do that. And even if I was able to go hunting and catch a pig and dispatch the pig, right? What do I know about cleaning it? Yeah. What do I know about doing the proper butchering? And the answer is I don't know any of that stuff. But even if I did, like I said, I got a couple of 100,000 people, a couple of 100,000 stomachs around here. In a month we'd be eating each other if it came to that.
It would be ugly.
So there's a book that I like to talk about, although I've read it 3 or 4 times. My dad gave me a copy of it years ago. It's called 30 Seconds After, and it is a story about a rogue state somewhere lighting off a nuke, but high up enough in the sky so that there was no actual nuke damage on anything. It was the EMP that wiped out every diode, every circuit that there was. Cars stop moving, planes stop flying, everything stops unless it's inside of a Faraday cage.
And keep in mind, that means no more phones, no more internet. We would be isolated on this tiny rock out in the middle of the ocean. Ooh.
Oh, no. Ham radio guy. That I know how to do.
But the EMP would wipe it out.
I'd find there's parts, there's ways you'd be able to do that. Brad says, be a prepper. Not only do you have to hoard for yourself, then defend that yourself. But no, I agree. Absolutely agree with you. But preppers don't talk about prepping. I'm just saying, think about it today. What have you done to prepare? And the question is not whether you've prepared for the rapture, the bright light, or any of that stuff. What have you done to prepare for the next time that we have to bucket flush and live like cave people?
Man, I'm not even prepared for the end of this week.
Yeah.
Much less that.
Let's see. This is the amount of prep that I have in my head. There are 9 beers left out of the 12-pack I got the other day in the house. That's it. I've got toilet paper.
That is the most important thing.
There you go. So 8:55 in the morning. Sorry, see where you got me started on that concept, Amanda. It's like I said, something I think about now. When we talk about food security, that's what we're talking about. How are we going to feed 160 to 190,000 people if the planes can't fly and the ships stop coming? What are we going to do? There's, the guys that have done the studies on this kind of thing said, Ray, don't worry about it too much. What do we quote? 190,000 people?
No, that's a good
About
fair
half
estimate.
of them will be dead shortly. You've got people that are going to be sick. You got no refrigeration for diabetes medicine, any of those other things. There are going to be people that are taking an obscene amount of drugs for whatever it is, and if they don't have access to those, well, they sadly are probably going to die as well. So there's a big chunk of people that are just going to die right off in the first couple of days. So be prepared for a smell, right? But what happens with the rest of the everybody that's left behind? Ponder the concept. The book is called 30 Seconds After, and the fact of the matter is, I read that book probably 10 years ago, and since then I have never heard about anything serious out of Washington or the Department of Defense on a full-scale plan on how to deal with technology, with a civilization outage that would be caused by an EMP that was thrown by a rogue nation like, I don't know, the Norks, the North Koreans.
Or the Chinese. They're feeling a little frisky these days.
That is an interesting story that Kevin was talking about, how there's somebody referred to it as Washington Post fake news about a get-together with the people in Vanuatu and the Chinese. This is not the first time we've heard about those kind of connections around here. Frankly, it wasn't that long ago that there was a story about Yap getting real handsy with the Chinese. Or was it the Chinese getting real handsy with Yap? Yeah. And I'm not much of a conspiracy theorist, but there was a pretty bad storm that went through the Pacific and went right over Ulithi and wiped the place out. And I know people from down there, my ham radio friends. I talk to them all the time. And a bunch of them we were very, very concerned about because we could not hook up with them. And so I remember thinking, well, they get the agreement with the United States shouldn't be too much longer before we hear about sorties flying out of Anderson Air Force Base, Yokosuka, or Okinawa, loaded up with goods and something that we can parachute out because there ain't no landing strips in Ulysses, baby. And I never heard about it. They never went that I know of. It took a long time. I've never heard of anybody going out there. We were sending supplies down to Yap, and a terrible story about that, but there was a faster response coming out of Guam, the civilian community on Guam, than there was coming from anybody else. What had happened was about the same time there was an earthquake in, I don't know, where the Dalai Lama lives, the Himalayas.
Yeah, because this was April 2015, Typhoon Maisek.
Was it?
Yep.
Anyway, so right around there, and I guess that was Kathmandu or something like that. That was a sexier place to be seen doing that kind of relief work. So it went there, and I believe that was the response, the passive aggressive response to don't you get handsy with the Chinese. Don't you let them start talking to you about you're our baby now. You're my girl. You're my date. I'm your Huckleberry. So don't you go talking to those Chinese guys, right? That's what I think. That's my conspiracy theory. And the funny thing is, a couple of times that I've mentioned it, nobody's ever denied it. Nobody's ever said, you're full of it, man. That's can't be what was going on there. You just never know, which is why we can't get handsy with the Chinese either, as much as I'd like to sometimes. 8:59 in the morning. It's the Ray Gibson Show on The Point. As I said, coming up, we'll talk to the guys from APL about what they're doing. How long would it take for me to get my Spam and my rice and my beer from here to Saipan? And we'll answer that question, maybe a little bit more, about Smoking Wheels with the APL Smoking Wheels. It's coming up this weekend. As I said, Fox News Live coming up here in just a couple of minutes. Kevin has already gone to his daytime job, so we'll fill in, we'll backfill with a couple of conversations and a couple of news stories on the other side of that ourselves. Stand by now for Fox News Live right here on The Point.
Hours of questions about privacy. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. Hoping to clear the air, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg taking questions from senators after the major data breach from Cambridge Analytica. He says he was misled.
First, they sent us an email notice from their chief data officer telling us that they didn't have any of the data anymore, that they deleted it and weren't using it. And then later, we followed up with, I believe, a full legal contract where they certified that they had deleted the data.
Last month, it was revealed the personal information of tens of millions of Facebook users was compromised. Zuckerberg faces questions from members of the House tomorrow. Reaction continues to come in to raids on the home and office of President Trump's personal attorney. Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell was asked if he thought President Trump would fire special counsel Robert Mueller.
I don't think he's going to be removed from this office. He shouldn't be removed from the office. He should be allowed to finish the job.
Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer railed against the president for calling the investigation a witch hunt.
So if President Trump believes this to be a partisan conspiracy, he once again ignores the fact that every major player is a Republican, and all but the judges appointed by President Trump himself.
The Associated Press is reporting the FBI was looking for records related to Karen McDougal, a Playboy model who claimed she had an affair with President Trump before he became president. The UN Security Council has rejected a Russian resolution that would have welcomed an investigation by an international group to look into a suspected poison gas attack near Damascus, Syria. Earlier, the council failed to approve rival U.S. and Russian resolutions to establish a new body to assess blame for the attack. Fox News, fair and balanced.
Come out for the 4th annual Chucky Run and Fun 5K, 2K, and Flyaway giveaway. Join us Saturday, April 14th at Chuck E. Cheese's Guam. Show at 5:30 and go at 6 a.m. T-shirts, medals, and other cool prizes, refreshments, and indoor activities after the races. Grand prize drawing for all participants is a trip package for 2 to Manila. Register at Chuck E. Cheese's Guam. $8 for students, $12 for adults, and Group of 4 Super Saver for just $35. The 4th annual Chuck E. Run and Fun 5K, 2K, and Flyaway giveaway. See you there.
So you want to buy a house, but you don't know how much you could borrow. So what do? Well, you come to Bank Pacific and get pre-qualified. Sit down with one of our home loan specialists and let us see how much we can lend you so you know how much you can spend on your new home. Bank Pacific, where we're open to closing your loan in a hurry.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender, conditions apply. Come pre-qualified today.
President of China vowing to open up his country's market to wider competition.
In a closely watched speech, Chinese President Xi Jinping laying out a series of trade policy reforms. He said import taxes on cars would be cut this year and also promised to open up China's banking industry and improve intellectual property protection, all US priorities. This follows weeks of tough talk between the US and China, with each side threatening the other with billions of dollars in increased duties. Simon Owen, Fox News.
The news sent stocks sharply higher, with the Dow ending the day up 428 points. All 6 people aboard a small plane were killed when it crashed on a golf course in a Phoenix suburb shortly after taking off from a nearby airport. The identities of those killed in the Monday night crash in Scottsdale have not yet been released. No one on the ground was hurt. If you're a fan of Necco wafers, you may want to stock up.
The maker of Necco Wafers, the 170-year-old New England confectionery company, might be closing down its Revere, Massachusetts plant. The chalky candy that has been described as tropical drywall and plaster surprise, this according to the Wall Street Journal, still has legions of fans, with consumers in candy stores trying to get their hands on whichever Necco products they can get, including Mary Jane's, Squirrel Nut Zippers, Clark Bars, and Sweethearts. However, it's the Necco wafers that stand out among the company's brands. Necco CEO Michael McGee reaching out to Revere's mayor, warning that Necco would be forced to shut down if they can't find a buyer and make layoffs as soon as May. Hillary Barsky, Fox News.
Yvonne Staples has died in Chicago. She performed with her sisters and father as part of the Grammy Award-winning gospel group, the Staples Singers. They were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1999. Lisa Lacera, Fox News Radio.
Don't wait another day and waste another dollar. You can start saving today. At Guahan Insurance Services, we are here to help protect your investment and save you money. We offer insurance advising for business, car, and home insurance. So come and visit us at our new office at Camacho Landmark Center at Marine Corps Drive in Tamuning, and let us show you that you can count on us for all your insurance needs. Call 475-1162.
Wait 1 second. Wait, we're talking about guy working stuff,
Nice.
and the beauty of being completely disorganized. So, and you've been in my office.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Well, you've been in here too. So.
Yeah, can't see the floor.
No.
I'm on a new project. I got a bunch of stacks of paper, and I've decided that in the next couple of days I'm going to separate them in terms of stuff that I need to keep and stuff that we need for record keeping and contracts and all of the other stuff. And so far I've only got I've got a big pile of I don't know what I'm doing with this. And then there's a couple of other piles that I think are contracts. I don't even know if they're still good. Anyway, 9:05. Wendy's has got the new smoky mushroom bacon cheeseburger. It's got this smoky sauce that dresses up as sautéed portobello mushrooms, melted Asiago cheese, crispy applewood smoked bacon. Now, I would have stuck that up around the front. It's so important. It's actually in the name. Smoky mushroom bacon cheeseburger. Of course, they've got the fried onion tangles on top of it that are so good and so good for you. And then it's a beefy patty. It's the beefy patty made with the really, really good cheeseburger meat they use at Wendy's. And it's not going to be here for long, so you got to get to Wendy's and try it before it goes. Now, that's better.
Are you waiting too long for a home loan decision? Are you looking for a bank that understands your needs and can close your loan quickly at today's super low rates? Then come no further than Bank Pacific. Our home loan specialists are friends and neighbors from your community, and our decisions are made right here in Hagåtña. Bank Pacific, where we're open to closing your loan in a hurry.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender, credit conditions apply. Viva Bank Pacific.
This program brought to you by King's Restaurant, serving Guam favorites to families like yours for over 40 years. King's Restaurant, always open, always local.
Looking for a reliable power system when the power goes out? Kohler Power Systems are quiet, reliable, and dependable. And they stay that way with regular service and support from the team at Morico Equipment, because they also offer qualified after-sales service and support for Kohler Power Systems. Kohler generator systems are sold and serviced on Guam by Morico Equipment. You should call them now at 649-1946 or click moricoequipment.com.
The Coconut Wireless is back. The Ray Gibson Show. Any speaker, anytime. On demand at thepoint.gu.
Okay, so now we're talking about email, and so I'm delighted to find a kindred spirit or two here in the studios from APL, American President Lines, and we'll get around to talking about what it is that they came in to talk about just as soon as I'm finished with my story about Gmail and being able to buy storage on Gmail. So emails that go back to 2007, 2008, no problem. I still have them. Yep. I still have all of that stuff in my email folder because I'm not going to do. I'm a Taurus, right? And so it's built in that you're going to hoard a little bit of. And so everything is important. fun. Everything is fascinating. I got emails from my father. I got emails from my late mother. You know, all of that stuff that goes back years and years and years, and I'm never, ever, ever going to get rid of it, period. It's just, I'll just keep buying the thing. So I'm not one of those guys that is fastidious about keeping an empty email box. So John Selleck, who's in the studio, is the same guy.
Yep. And Charlie and I are both cancers, so it's the same thing. We're very.
So it's nothing. But he's a Marine.
Yeah,
he's got that Marine thing. So I mean, don't you have that the keep it lean and clean Marine thing going on?
Absolutely.
So how many emails are in your inbox right now?
Right now, that haven't been opened or haven't been filed. I pretty much try to keep them filed. So.
Do you at least file them, right? At least put them in a folder. This is a work folder. This is not work folder. This is homeless junk. Homeless junk is my favorite folder, and everybody should have one. It's the same way that at your house or your apartment, I'm sure there is a drawer that is filled with junk.
Yes.
And it's just stuff that doesn't seem to fit anywhere else. Amazing. How do you run a shipping company like that? Because there's got to be parallels, right? Between the I don't want to say there's a formality of it, and then there is the hey, this is the shipping business. We're like a family around here, right?
No, absolutely. And you know what? The parallel to that is actually making sure that we know exactly where everything's at.
Yeah.
Globally. So. It's a pretty interesting how to be able to track and trace the shipments around the world. Well, and it's come a long way, actually, right? From the days of when the shipping container actually was created back in the late 50s to now.
Can you imagine a life of break bulk?
Right.
Can you imagine that? You're right. The containerization was a major revolutionary step, and most of the people that are alive today or recently born just have no idea because it's always been like that. But I remember when I was younger, we'd go to the port and pick up materials for my grandmother's store, and we'd literally have to pick them up. There was no containers. There was no container yard or anything like that. It wasn't a question of somebody from the company driving it to the store for years. We just go and we'd pick it up from the warehouse,
right?
Because somebody took it off the boat that way, and that's the way it arrived around here. We've got containerization, which, as I said, revolutionary both in the shipping business and in the train business. Which came first? Do we know?
Well, the intermodal box was first on the ships, and it was started. Malcolm McLean was putting truck trailers on the top of tankers running down to Puerto Rico.
I'll be darned.
And then the military was developing a Connex box in World War II, and then after World War II, that was developed into containerization. So
as we know it today.
As we know it today.
Yeah, and it's funny. You take a look at a container, and it is largely unchanged from the way it was. It's like looking at prehistoric sharks. That's what they look like then. That's what they look like now.
They've tried to change it to go to a 53-foot standard because that's what most trucks on the mainland are now. Is a 53-foot standard, so you can carry 40% more cargo in 53-foot box. So that, but it didn't take off. The 40-foot and the 20-foot.
Conceptually, it looks like it would work, but in the regions around the world, I mean, there's some areas, that some streets you can't even make.
It's just a question of what happens to it once it gets on the road.
Absolutely, we can put it on the ship.
Would have been great on the ship.
We can put it on the ship.
Yeah,
and in the U.S. mainland it works.
Yes,
but in a lot of other countries.
So that was one of the first lessons I learned when I started thinking about it and talking to guys that the beer companies, for an example, will tell you that I can get this many cans of beer in a container. So if you're talking about adding a few extra cubic feet in there, that's more cans that they can deliver on this run, and that's one less container that they have to bring in, and that means that we can save some money. And my beer is 45 cents a can as opposed to $7 a can, which it is now. Okay, I might have oversimplified that. I might have exaggerated in one direction or another, but it's not that far off. It's not that far off. So and you guys in the shipping business, those numbers are critical to you as well. How many extra inches do I have in this container, and how much more space do I have on the ship?
I mean, you can see that actually. Right? I mean, right now the shipping industry is kind of going globally on a turn. Right, the ships are getting bigger. Right, I think the largest ship right now in the world is 1,800.
Actually, our parent company, is building 20,000 TEU ships.
20,000.
So we brought one, the Benjamin Franklin, into LA, the largest ship that's ever called a U.S. port.
Right.
So 20,000 TEU. A TEU is a 20-foot equivalent unit. So a 40-foot container, this could carry 10,000 40-foot containers. It's larger than the Empire State Building
If you
put it down in the water.
Laying down.
Yes.
And so
and actually, if people in Guam are buying goods that are brought in from Europe, if we bring them in on APL, they may be on those ships because those are ships we're running between Europe and Asia, and so they come to Korea, and we can bring. So we've had shipments.
We bring quite a bit out of Europe, goods, food goods. And they go through that transit. And
I'm still, my brain is still bending on the concept of a ship being able to carry 20,000 to 20-foot containers. And I've seen large ships in my life, and I've had the pleasure of being on big what do you call them, tour ships, cruise ships. I mean that's a good time, and I recommend it for everybody. But your eyes can't take in the size of the structure that we're talking about.
Right.
And cruise ships, in comparison to something that can carry 20,000 20-foot containers, must look like dwarfs.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Next to those things.
So the ships that we bring into Guam and Saipan are the APL Guam and the APL Saipan are 1,100 TEUs and 1,700 TEUs, respectively.
Right.
So these ships are 18 times bigger. Than the ships that we bring into Guam.
Now we could never bring in one of those ships into the harbor, right? I mean, would it fit through the hole at APRA?
No. I mean,
actually, APRA harbor is actually pretty large because aircraft carriers come in. But the commercial port, the depth isn't enough. The draft, you could not get it to the commercial port. You could come into an anchor, and the military might even be able to handle.
And the cranes as well, right? The cranes are so at a certain height they can only
they can't go up any higher because the boat is sitting so high in the water, or so low in the water up to a certain point, and then pretty soon you won't be able to reach. You'll need to reach up in order to get the containers off the ship. Fascinating conversation. And the idea is if we can put more containers on the ships, it's a little bit more efficient, and we can move more cargo going from one place to the other.
There's definitely an economics behind that.
And does it have to be full every time it goes out?
No, I mean, but actually, utilization, you want it to be full, right? Exactly, and that's the whole concept. To be able to, there's economics there that would actually make you save on fuel, ships. I mean, you look at it from the airline industry as well, right? I mean, they kind of reinvent as far as the larger planes.
Well, the transportation business is it seems to me it's the same whether we're moving people or cargo. Is once the ship has left the port, that's it. I can't. It's not like I can put another butt in that chair.
Right.
But the good news is that you get to use it again, even after you sold it. You get to use that ship again and again and again. Right. It seems to me the worst runs, and we've seen this happen here in the past, is the one where you've got the ship that goes out full but comes back empty. We never want to come back empty.
That happens more in shipping than, say, airlines, because passengers tend to return, right? So and sometimes there's issues. Everybody's coming down to Guam from Japan for the weekend, so the flights to Japan for the weekend tend to be less full.
Lighter.
Yeah.
But there's some timing issues there. But for shipping, it's much more stronger. Where in the Trans-Pacific, half the containers moving from the mainland, from the U.S. to Asia, are empty.
Repositioning empties back to Asia because the Asia market is really the Trans-Pacific.
Well, I'm worried a little bit about the Asia market. I'm sure you guys were when Trump started talking about the tariffs with China, when China started talking about the laying down a bunch of 100 plus tariffs back to the United States. Did that worry you guys in the APL?
We're definitely following it. We're definitely trying to see exactly what kind of impact it's going to have on, especially China, right? Exactly how that's going to impact as far as the warehousing. And so we're getting actually a lot of calls from companies saying they're going to come up with a plan B as far as sourcing materials, manufacturing, moving their warehouse to different parts of the region.
Yeah, and because it's not just it's not just Shanghai,
right?
I mean, it's not just the big port. I mean, it's a massive port in Shanghai, as I understand it. It's like they've built special port islands there, so that they can maintain this constant stream of materials leaving China that needs to get on the boat. We're not charging for it until it gets on the boat, until it gets delivered. So it's absolutely critical that they've got an effective infrastructure for something like that. But as as I said, it's not the first time we've seen it. There was a slowdown in China a few years ago, and actually had an effect on Guam shipping because it took one of the players out of the game because they had invested so much in business coming out of China when the manufacturers decided, you know what, it's cheaper for us to move our manufacturing inland and move it away from these ports. Well, these guys were sitting going, well, wait a second, now I don't have any containers in any direction.
Right.
And that was a real serious problem for the industry here on Guam. And we were all kind of wondering when another player was going to come back. So we were happy to see that APL is here. And for a lot of reasons, and we'll get to one of them now. I think maybe the most important, it's not just the reliability of being able to schedule and get shipments to and from the island of all of the materials that we need. As I said, the three staples, rice and Budweiser and Spam. Right, those are very, very important. It's also the idea that you guys have been great corporate citizens, and I noticed, and it was one of the first things jumped right out at me when I was looking at the Smoking Wheels flyer on Facebook, and it says APL.
Yes.
Welcome back.
Yes. No. Thank you. We're very. You know, we have a long legacy with Smoking Wheels. I mean, one of the things
this is great.
You know, Henry System was able to find that magazine from 1979, and as you can see, you know, we were part of it back then. So, I mean, we're very proud and honored to be part of this amazing program again.
Oh, what a big weekend it's going to be. Are you ready for it?
Yep.
Are you
We're
riding?
ready.
Are you competing?
No.
You can't.
Not yet.
Go find Joey Crisostomo and ask him to take you a little bit.
On a
just
ride
need to borrow
along.
one of your bikes.
Yes.
Yeah, one of his Harleys.
Yeah.
There should be a Harley. There should be a Harley event over at Smoking Wheels. So aside from you got the naming rights on this. This is a big deal. APL
Yes,
Smoking Wheels.
absolutely.
And there's going to be a lot of people that will know that you are there. So tell me a little bit more about the presence that you guys are going to be bringing to Smoking Wheels this weekend.
Well, I think so. One of the main things and what is in the ad there from '79 is that we brought Malcolm Smith's car over from the mainland so that he could race, and that's our main.
I missed that part. I remember that
at the very bottom. Yeah,
so Malcolm Smith's car shipped courtesy of American President Lines Limited,
and that's the same service that we have provided to Smoking Wheels since we returned to Guam. We bring the race cars in from the mainland, and then also there's a sizable contingent that comes down from Japan. And we have weekly service from Japan.
Okay.
So, and then with return service.
I thought you were saying you were going to bring the riders down from Japan as well.
Yeah, no, we just bring their cars. The cars. and then the cars, actually, if you go to the event, you'll see APL containers because they use the containers as their garage. So they have the cars, their spare parts, all their gear in the container, and we just have the containers grounded next to the track.
Sure.
And then they just use the containers as kind of their
headquarters.
Yeah.
So it sounds like we got someplace to park and someplace to put our tools and tires and all of the things that we need to keep these cars going. And it's one of those things that is you don't realize it, but it's important. It's vital to the event that we get these. It's not like they can come here and borrow them from somebody else. And the idea is that I want to use my car, my ride, for all the competition that we're going to be doing here. And it's a couple of big days of competition as well.
3 days, and it's a timing perspective. We've been talking about with Henry. We'll start planning this months in advance.
Well, you have to. You have to, because you guys are in the shipping game.
Correct.
And everything. So this is my perspective as a consumer of materials that sometimes have to be brought in from off island. And I know I shouldn't say it, and I know I need to rethink it because it's 2018. But when somebody says, "Yeah, I can't ship that to you by air. We're going to have to do that surface," I bristle for a second because I forget that it's 2018, and we're not talking about weeks out at sea. I don't know that we were ever talking about weeks out at sea. It just felt like it. It just felt like it was going to take so much longer to get it done here. But that's maybe just the myth in my head, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I think a lot of things have gotten a lot of faster and quicker on the ocean side. So,
what's it take to get something out of California? I mean, have I got a boat leaving Long Beach?
So it'll range. It'll range from 14 days to 21 days, depending on the service. And then out of Oakland, same thing. It'll range from 14 to 19 days, depending on the service.
Okay, so a little bit of time, but it's, as I said, it's not weeks and weeks, it's not months out there, and got guys swabbing the deck and doing that kind of thing. But it's usually the service is dependent on where it's going to go from Long Beach, right? Correct. So I mean, if we have to make some stops, then we've got to stop. Honolulu would be a good destination to stop at.
Honolulu, we'll stop in. There's a service that stops in Honolulu. There's a service that stops in Yokohama. Which is our service.
Same route?
No, so Matson will go into Honolulu, we go into Yokohama.
I see. Okay, so there's different ways that
different ways.
And it's kind of like flying United back to the mainland. You can either go through Narita or you can go through Honolulu.
Well, the way I want to go through is the one where it picks up more passengers and lessens the cost for me to go. Correct. So if there's an opportunity, if it means a little bit of additional time, but my ticket price is still relatively low because I've gone to someplace with a little bit more of more customers that will support that, in particular, maybe a more efficient vessel. Maybe one that's got some more creature comforts. Maybe something where I can pack in a few more of my containers. Then that makes a whole lot of sense.
Correct.
Yeah, and nothing against United, but they have a monopoly coming into Guam, and so anybody who's flown on their service between here and Honolulu, they see what monopoly is like, and sometimes the prices aren't as attractive. Sometimes the service you're given isn't what they need to do.
So I always fly to Japan because that's a local crew that I'm with 99% of the time.
And then your flight from Japan to the mainland is full international. You get food, you get fed, you get entertained, you get all the benefits. Whereas if you fly a coach to Honolulu, you may not get that. And, nothing bad against United. Everybody loves them.
No,
right?
I'm convinced there are two Uniteds. There's two Uniteds. There's the one that we have out here for us. And like I said, I'll take the extra flying time, the extra ground time in Tokyo because I know the kind of quality I'm going to get. Plus, I get to be in Tokyo, for a couple of hours. Versus the United that they have in the States that puts dogs up in the overhead bins. There are two of them. And I've said the same thing to Sammy. I've said the same thing to the guys that were here for the UGM, and they get it too. They know what they're up against. And generally, I think in the people transportation game, the further east you go, the worse the service gets. And the closer you get to Newark.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And that's all airlines. That's everybody. It's just one of those things where the service gets shirtier and shirtier the closer you get to that part of the country. Maybe it's the weather. I don't know. 9:26 in the morning. A little bit more about APL. What else you guys up to?
But going back to that point, I mean, we're always looking at improving our service. I mean, we're always looking at efficient ways to be able to bring goods at a cost-effective, price point.
Right.
So I mean, that's pretty much what.
Yeah, but then there's so many things that are outside your force field. I mean, the cost of fuel that goes to keep the ships running. I mean,
we'll monitor that.
Pumping your own oil at APL, right?
Right.
Okay.
So we monitor that consistently because fuel actually, it'll fluctuate. But again, we're always looking at it because there are different ways to be able to control price points. There's different ways to be able to make the operation more efficient.
Sure.
So whatever we can do, I mean, that's one of the things that, John, we've talked about a lot is, making the commitment to the community, especially here on Guam, to be able to come up with efficient ways to bring in the goods at a good price point. So,
and we'll talk in a second about the community. It's not just Guam that you serve. There are two ships that you named: the APL Guam, the APL Saipan. And I've threatened to do this. Charlie and I, when we first met, I was threatening to do this because it sounds like fun. It just got to work on the technology and the infrastructure to make it happen, because the flying time between Guam, the port here on Guam, and Sugar Dock in Saipan is
about 8 hours.
Flying.
Four
between here and there, isn't it?
Flying.
No, shipping time. That's what
shipping is 8 hours.
It's
shipping
8 hours?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so that's twice the size of the morning show. So what I was thinking is we start the morning show at 6. Well, boat leaves at 6, and before too much longer, we'll be pulling into Sugar Dock up in Saipan, and we'll get some movers and shakers and headline makers, and they'll all be captive, and we can do broadcast interviews from there. Like I said, I just need to figure out how to make it so that we can get the internet connection off the boat back to here at the radio station, because that would be fun for me.
We would love to do that.
That would be fun for me. What's it like being on the boat? Have you guys ever done one of those things where, you know what, I'm going to babysit this container between here and there?
You know, I've actually been, you know, I did about a year out at sea.
No way, really?
On the merchant ships. So part of the requirement, I went to the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy at Kings Point. So part of the requirement there is you need to graduate with a license, either a third mate or a third engineer.
Okay.
And you have to spend 1 year out at sea, part of your school.
Wow.
School system.
So what's that like?
I mean, it's amazing. I mean, you're 17, 18 years old. You're a merchant mariner.
Right.
My first ship was from Newark, New Jersey to Northern Europe. So we did Germany, Belgium, England, France.
You were a single man at the time?
At 18? I think so. I think. Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
New adventures
Yes,
waiting
new
for
adventures.
you?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, have a lot of friends around the world.
I'm sure. I'm sure. No, and you know, there's the camaraderie, right? Because
Absolutely.
you're rubbing shoulders with the same guys and largely on the same ships all the time.
Right. But it's actually, you know, one of those things where if there's a peaceful thing about being out at sea. So when you're crossing the Atlantic or crossing the Pacific, if there's no storms,
right, I was going to say that was
you can go up to the bridge, the middle of the night. You know, it's just very peaceful. Good way to think. Good way to kind of end the day and, you know, wake up next morning, you see the sunshine and everything else. So
what's the working life on a container ship?
So you're either above deck, which are most of the deck personnel, or below deck, which are the engineers. So that's one of the things that I took in consideration when I made my selection. When I checked the box, I said I either wanted to be in the engine room, or loud, or above deck on the bridge. So for the most part, it's really it's different for every type of ship, right? So if tankers, container ships, break bulk ships, it's the upkeeping of the ship, pretty much. So above deck is really trying to make sure that everything above deck is you know, well oiled and there's no rust. Pretty much the upkeep of the vessel, making sure that it's going to run well,
so that we can get from point A to point B, and then back again.
And then the folks that work in the engine room obviously are, you know, the heart of making sure the ship keeps running.
But it's not like a passenger ship, right? I mean, what kind of maintenance do you need to do on the TEUs while they're there?
You know, making sure, like if it's on a containerized ship, you know, we're monitoring the reefers, making sure that the reefers are at a set temperature.
Okay.
Making sure the containers are lashed, there's nothing that's loose. You know, again, making sure that there's nothing that
leaking,
and anything leaking, making sure that everything's upkeep. So it's pretty interesting. But
I was going to say, it sounds what a great way to do a year when you're about 17 or 18 years old, and you're constantly, number one, you're constantly moving, and number two, you're always moving into different places that you wouldn't normally see, and number three, for the most part, nobody's shooting at you.
Correct.
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Although piracy in some places is an issue. We've watched the movies.
Correct.
Is that a concern in the 21st century with the shipping companies?
It still is.
Oh, very much so. Especially because the ships, as they get larger, and they're trying to reduce the crew size. There's more automation, so you have these huge ships going through, like our 20,000 TEU ships coming from Europe, going through Suez Canal, crossing by Somalia, places like that, through the Red Sea. You figure, you know, what's a container has 44,000 pounds of, say, television sets or computers or, you know, Samsung handhelds.
Yeah.
So there's some high value products moving on these ships, and if you're, you know,
do you have a bunch of guys with pistolas and guns that might be able to help you repel the borders? I mean,
only occasionally if we're going into, they try to mostly. I mean, if you ever, what was the movie?
Captain Phillips.
Yeah, Captain Phillips. Yeah, that's a good.
I mean,
example.
those are the standard drills. I mean, if you saw the movie, those are the standard drills that you would, without having, you know, without being carrying, you know, guns on board the vessels. Now, there are some ships that have their security personnel that have been assigned for certain regions around the Somalia, Yemen areas.
The trouble side. Like, do we have any problems around here?
No.
It's all pretty good.
No.
All pretty good.
Well, there's different routes that you guys cut between, you know, the shipping companies and say the cruise lines and things like that. I mean, are there places out along these sea routes, these sea lanes that I would refer to as crowded?
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
But how many ships might be out there at any given minute?
I mean, you've seen lately as far as that region where there's been a few accidents with the U.S. Navy ships, right? And that's very crowded. I mean, you could actually, it doesn't seem like, it's a very vast, big ocean, but it's really not when you have multiple ships crossing the lane. I mean, you're monitoring every ship, they're tracking, because unless you start turning, I mean, the ships are very slow turning, right? So, so it's not like you can turn a car and stop, and so the momentum of stopping a ship and turning it, it's pretty lengthy.
Is there like a flight aware? Because I've got this software and hardware, and it's basically an antenna that talks to a little cheap computer, and it just spits something out on the web where you can see like radar, you can see the comings and goings of all the ships.
All the ships worldwide have satellite tracking, and so sometimes if you go online, this is free online, you can look up particular container ships, and I forget the name of the website. It's but anyway, if you look up a particular ship name, it'll say current location of. Click there, and then you go to the map. If you click on those maps that are on that website, you'll just see this mass of ships.
Amazing.
Amazing.
Okay, so
and it'll be fishing ships, container ships, tankers, cruise ships,
military,
some military, depends.
Right. Sometimes they cloak.
Sometimes they don't. Yeah.
Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. Mike.
Yeah, I got shiptracker.live.
Ship Tracker.
Ship Tracker. That's it. Yep.
And also marinetraffic.com.
Which one do you want me to go to?
I would
go to
with
the marine traffic.
Yeah.
Marine Tracker.
Really?
Okay.
Marine traffic.
Marine traffic. I was going to say Marine Tracker. That sounds like it's like a dating site.
All one word.
All right, Marine Traffic. Okay, traffic. Okay, I got the thing going on. Take a break so people don't have to hear how bad I type while I'm doing this, and come back and see if I can put that map up, because that fascinates me. I'm kind of curious as to how crowded things are going to get. I got John Selleck and Charles Hermosilla. Hermosilla, that's somebody else's name, Gibson. I got them from American President Lines talking about shipping and talking about their significant role that they're playing with the Smoking Wheels this weekend. The conversation continues in a second. 9:35 is iConnect time. iConnect, it's quality push-to-talk and mobile plans that will help you connect longer.
Yes, money is something we should talk about and plan for and use to make life better. It's how we make our giant leap from where we are to where we want to be. So let's talk together and work together to check off shiny new kitchens, fully nested dorm rooms, and bucket lists with more countries than our passports can hold. Let's check them all off together. First Hawaiian Bank. It all starts with yes. Member FDIC.
Every time I travel, there's something from home that I can't leave without. I take my Docomo Pacific Data to Go to share my stories in Taiwan, check subway routes in Tokyo, be my food guide in Hong Kong, meet new friends in the Philippines, make updates in the States, find my way around Korea, and check out all the cool shows in Singapore. It's the data I have in all the places I love for only $10 a day. Data to Go from Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Triple J says yes. Zero down? Yes. 1.9% financing? Yes. Easy trade-in? Yes. No payments for 90 days? Yes. We'll have you saying yes, too, to these amazing deals. Like our big boy truck, the Ford F-150 at only $217 per paycheck. Or the top safety pick Mazda CX-5 Sport at only $194 per paycheck. Or turn heads in the Mazda 3 Sport or the sleek and sophisticated Kia Soul. Both for only $129 per paycheck. Visit us online at triplejguam.com. Some conditions apply. See dealer for details. Triple J, customers first.
Chili's lunch combos for just $10. Start your lunch with your choice of a Bud Light, iced tea, or Coca-Cola. Plus, free bottomless chips with salsa. Then choose a variety of fresh entree options like our savory beef enchiladas, quesadilla explosion salad, or our Cajun chicken pasta. Experience fresh flavors in every bite with Chili's lunch combos for just $10. Available Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. At Chili's, fresh is happening now.
Okay, it doesn't take much to get me to say wow, but this one here from Jump got me saying wow, oh my God, I've never seen anything quite like that before. And so if you're watching on Facebook Live, we just put up an image from marinetraffic.com on the World Wide Web, and that blew me away. Every single ship, every single hull is accounted for in so many different places. What's the legend on this? There's green ones and red ones and bright green ones and brown ones. Does it designate what kind of ship they are?
Exactly. So some are container ships, some are going to be break bulk, some are going to be fishing vessels,
boats.
tankers. Yeah, a lot. If you look around Guam,
God,
there's
it
a lot
is
of
crowded.
fishing.
It
Yeah,
is
a lot of
crowded
fishing
out
vessels.
there.
yeah.
Unbelievable.
Crowd, yeah.
Oh God, you guys managed not to hit anything else in there, huh?
It is a big ocean.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, well, yeah. And I see there might be, the distance is 100, 200 miles between everything, but it still looks like a crowded spot, especially as you get closer and closer to the shorelines among many of the cities and states and countries
And
around
it's
here.
pretty interesting because, there are rules of the roads, right? International rules of the roads to be able to navigate on waters. And so they're just like, you're on the street, right? And you both hit a stop sign. Who's got the right of way? So
The bigger ship, right?
Well, no.
No.
Depending on the heading, depending on who's getting closer. So there's
Who
definitely
manages that?
the folks on the bridge.
Okay,
Yeah.
there's no international authority. There's no boss. Do we have
There's
like
international-
I'm at the FCC, right? So who's your guys?
Well, we have the IMO. We have the FMC as far as everything that manages the tariffs and so on. But there's international rules. Pretty much the IMO will regulate a lot of the international.
Are there a lot
rules.
of regulatory costs involved in shipping?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because there's safety at sea. There's you're carrying different products. So there's different international bodies that, like Charlie was saying, the IMO, the International Maritime Organization. Then there's dangerous goods. Monitoring, SOLAS.
I'm loving this conversation.
And then
this
there's
is an education unto itself for me.
There's different rules around different accords around transnational shipments of waste products, things like that. So there's the Basel Accords. So there's different international agreements that govern international law on what you can ship, what you can't ship, where you can ship it to, and then there's countries where that are
Sometimes
banned.
it'd be different, yeah, or different
You
rules.
can no longer carry stuff to certain countries because there's bans. And
So one of the questions that I years ago I remember reading up about. Another kind of transportation, maybe something that APL will do in the future, and that is transshipment of goods that go up into space, and everywhere in the process, the liability and the responsibility over the value of a product goes from one hand to the next, and it's the same with items that are containerized, items that might be broke bulk, where you've got something that for a while is in the hands of the ground shipping guy, and then it goes to a forwarder, and then it goes to APL. From there, who do you hand off the responsibility for and the liability over those goods?
I mean, so the terminal operators, right? So those are the folks that'll take the containers off our vessels,
right?
And then from there, it's our ability to get on the road and to the final destination.
So as soon as it's on the crane, it stops being your responsibility, right?
Well, technically, no.
When do you stop being responsible for it?
I think there's always a liability for us.
Yeah.
There's always a responsibility for us, depending on for example, our liability will end if it's a CY move, what we call a CY move. Our liability will end at getting the container to the port, and then it's up to the customer to pick it up at the port, and then their liability sort of starts there. If it's a delivery that we do to the door, then our liability ends as soon as we deliver the container to the customer's door.
So who are your customers, basically? I mean, are there people that, and this is the fuzzy part, my business is fairly easy. We've got advertising, we've got advertising agencies. Those are the people that we talk to. Our listeners are part of the product that we sell. Not too far off from Facebook, except I do my best not to steal anybody's identity. And so when I think about the shipping business, who are your customers? I mean, are you dealing with individual businesses? Are Are you dealing with freight forwarding companies, agents, somebody that I need to get a bunch of stuff from my warehouse in California to here? Would they be dealing right with the shipping company, or
yes,
who's the
so,
intermediary?
so we deal with everybody. We deal pretty much anybody who needs to ship anything. We'll deal with them. So you'll have freight forwarders. Obviously, that's a good market here. We also deal directly with companies that have one store on island and they need to move mattresses. They'll move one container. They'll ask for a quote. We'll provide them the service.
Oh, I see. So they can talk directly to you and bypass an agent.
Absolutely. Depending on what line of business they're looking for, level of service that they're looking for.
The only thing that we don't do is less than container load. So if you have a shipment that's less than a full container,
we'll consolidate.
Then you go to a consolidator and a forwarder who'll do that.
The only problem is you got to wait until the consolidator has enough for the container, and sometimes they've got it, and we'll be able to push every week. And sometimes, hey, we're waiting on a family in Santa Monica to move all of their goods here, and when that stuff's here, then we can consolidate and move out.
And the big market here is actually household goods.
Oh, I bet.
Right. So we're coming up on the peak season for the military moves, and that's always a pretty interesting time from between May and September as far as the flow.
A lot of cars get bought and sold on Guam. You guys move automobiles?
We do.
Individually or dealer level?
Both.
Really?
Both, right?
Cool.
So, and that's one of the markets we're looking at as well, because obviously from a strategic perspective, it's amazing how many cars come in and out of Guam. It's amazing.
The one that will blow my mind, I think, is the outbound. Because I think in terms of cars that I might have sold, used car. You buy a car and you take the other one in for trade. And when I was a little boy, you'd always see the car on the road. I sold it. I bought the Camaro, and the guy got my pickup truck. And every once in a while, I see my pickup truck driving around with its new owner. Not so much anymore. A lot of times, those used cars are picked up and shipped off to another destination, aren't they?
Correct.
Huh.
Yes.
About how many of that do you suppose?
Oh, that's a good question.
Then I'll have you come back.
No, absolutely.
You guys can come back.
But they use them. I mean, it's a lot of cars will go down depending on the year. They'll be broken down for parts. Some will go down to Mexico, and a lot of dealers will buy those cars, break them down, and use the parts as for their shops.
I had no idea.
Oh, absolutely.
I had no idea. Oh, and I'm sure they're also going out whole.
Right.
So how do those ship? Because they're not. You don't stick every car in a container, right?
So we do. So the way we move cars is via containers. The way there's another company that has a specific RoRo, so it's a roll-on, roll-off vessel that carries vehicles on their vessel as well.
Is it easier or harder?
To
containerize the cars.
It all depends. I mean, obviously, when
you get some cars, you can't open the door anymore after you've got it in a container.
Right, exactly.
How does the driver get out?
So loading wise, it's operationally it's easier to drive the car on and drive the car off.
Right. But it's safer and away from the elements if it's inside a container.
Correct.
I would assume. I'm having a good time with these guys, but I got to run, and you guys got to run. Congratulations on your renewed focus on making sure that we can have a Smoking Wheels here on Guam. Absolutely. And the question that I'm going to ask now is a question I ask whenever we're expecting a shipment of something from somewhere that comes by boat. Are the cars here?
Yes.
They are here.
They are here.
Zippers on the ground.
Yep, everything is here. And Ray, just wanted to present you real quick with this hat.
I knew that. I was talking about hats to have.
And if you play golf?
You know what? I can take it up. Everybody says, okay, you're a broadcast executive, and you should be playing more golf. And I don't know. See, you're going to invite me, and you're going to say, let's go, because Ray's a fun guy. Let's go play golf. Okay, I just want you to know I'm usually on in 11. And in the hole in another 5 or 6, maybe. So,
perfect.
So it's a long day if you're golfing.
No, that's perfect. Yeah. But thank you very much for having us on.
I'm the one guy that that really believes in a 1-iron, right?
Just one.
Well, yeah, because I'm not good enough to use any of the other clubs in the bag. So I walk around with like 3 clubs. It's the wedge, the putter, and maybe a couple of irons because I can't hit woods.
Yeah. And only God can hit a 1-iron. Yeah. So.
And he thinks he can hit a 1-iron is the joke. Listen, it's 9:46, guys. Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you very much, Ray. We look forward to everybody coming out this weekend.
I'll see you at Smoking Wheels. 1, 2, 3 days of fun, right?
Correct.
Up at the track in Gigo. I'll spill some more details on that so everybody else knows. But watch out for APL and their continued focus on this and other events that they're learning to love in the community. I'll be right back after these.
For over 55 years, Community First has served our island as a full-service financial institution. And now, we're proud to introduce the new Community First Student-Run Credit Union, open in Manilao on Route 10. Guam's first student-run financial institution, which means it's operated by college students like us, ready to serve all our members, existing and new. We're just down the road from UOG and GCC. Community First Guam Federal Credit Union, now open in Manilao. This credit union is federally insured by NCUA.
Stop by any Circle K today and overload your For Real. It's simple. Pick out your favorite For Real shake, blend it, and then mix and match any 2 toppings for only $1. Overload your For Real with a variety of sweet treats like Oreo cookies, gummy bears, classic M&Ms or peanut M&Ms, and Reese's peanut butter cups. Simply add them to your For Real shake for an overload experience and enjoy. For Real Overload, only available at participating Circle Ks. Circle K, take it easy.
The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts of Guam Training every morning on The Ray Gibson Show.
You've made the decision that somebody is no longer going to work for you. When should you tell them? I'm Jerry Roberts, and at 7:20 a.m. on The Ray Gibson Show, we tackle a topic that is often handled in an awkward fashion.
You can find daily transcripts of The Extra Point by Jerry Roberts at guamtraining.com. Tune in every weekday morning at 7:20 for The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts on The Ray Gibson Show on 93.3 The Point.
In illness and in wellness, Calvo's Select Care is health care that is there for you. That's why over 80% of the Guam medical community places their trust and insures with us. We offer our members wellness and fitness programs for a healthier lifestyle and provide a comprehensive medical network on and off island to help members from unexpected illnesses. Contact Calvo's Select Care today for more information.
My new kitchen from Korea is on one of those ships. Well, if it's on one of those APL ships, it's going to be well taken care of, and we'll be here. This is a great idea. As soon as I got the ball cap, that's nice. We're going to be able to turn this into some kind of a marketing opportunity for clients. You know, and because every once in a while, not all clients, but every once in a while, you run into somebody, advertiser says, I don't know, man, that's got a good rate, I'm happy, you know, what else can I get? What else can I get, Ray? You're a businessman, you're always looking for added value. Okay, well, how about if I wear your ball cap? How about if I wear your corporate logo on the program for a little bit? Can we do that? You know, I've got room in my closet for more shirts with your business's logo on it. Would you like to contact? That was almost nasty, wasn't it? Sorry. Sorry, I had to see that.
That harkened back to some Austin Powers movie.
Yeah. And that old Divinyl song, oh, When I Think About You, Hey, 10 away from the top of the hour. Ken also wanted to know, would removing the Jones Act make goods cheaper for Guam? And the answer is, it depends. Like most things. And I hesitate to get into the conversation at 10 minutes to 10 because there's so much that goes into it. Mm-hmm. And the ultimate answer to the question is probably not. Probably not. I mean, so much is built into the cost and the utilities of the ship. You know, would it make for more competition? Might be the question to ask. Right. And the answer again is, I don't know. You think about other transportation modes that we've had here, and you know, we had airplane rides with Delta, airplane rides with United, and I remember that there were a bunch of different airlines that were floating around in the region that we might be able to climb on, but it didn't necessarily mean we were going to pay any less than what you and I would consider exorbitant to get between here and the States. Now, I'll give you another example of is competition working all the time for us? And there are how many gas companies on Guam? Mm. How many places can you go to put gasoline in your car? And many of them will differentiate their quality of their services at the convenience stores, quality of the goods at the convenience stores, sale items, you know, this one's got cold beer, that one's got Frosties, whatever. But that's how they differentiate themselves competitively. Right. And there's many of us consumers that go, yeah, you know, if you want to be in the convenience store business, great, be in the convenience store. Can we do something on the price of gasoline?
Right.
Is there, you know, can Mike Gas Company versus Ray Gas Company get into a price war on the price of the gallon of gasoline? Can yours be $4.22.9 and mine will be $4.19.9?
Have there ever been, you know, gas wars here on Guam? I know back on the mainland, boy, we'd have them all the time back in the 80s, you know, as people were trying to deal with the rising cost of fuel at that time.
No, not really. Not really. And in my mind, in my memory, it's not that long that there has been as much competition. Right. When I was growing up, there was mobile gas. That's what we had, and the price was the same everywhere because it was the one company that we had. And then I want to say Shell came along in the 80s, and then the late 80s, early 90s. Maybe here comes the guys from 76.
Oh, okay.
And
right.
so there had not always been, and you know the hundreds of different names and brands of gasoline in the States. It's all, you know, you've got room for that kind of competition. I don't know that there's ever been anything like that here. There was once upon a time where the prices were not all uniform, though, and it depended on where you lived. There was a time where it was the gas station at Polino's store in Telefofo had some of the lowest prices.
Nice.
Yeah, and this was before internet days, so it's not like we had a WhatsApp so we could tell everybody.
No, that was word
it
of
was just
mouth.
kind of assumed. Hey, I passed by Polino's store, and you know, their gas is 85 cents a gallon, and so and you know, in town it might have been 90 cents a gallon. Sure. Back in that's how low it was back in those days.
Just by virtue of the prices you're giving me, that was like a really long time ago.
Yep. So here's where I'm at. In the last few seconds of the program, I want to thank everybody for tuning in on the Facebook Live. I had a good time on the com. If for no other reason, watch the online thing on Facebook because I want you to see me be entertained. And there's a whole bunch that goes on around here and conversations that make me very entertained. We had a conversation last hour talking about preparing for things, not necessarily being a prepper, but just be prepared for a coming bad time. And it doesn't have to be the bright flash. It doesn't have to be the, you know, rapture, if you want to call it that. Gas Express was a cheaper option years ago. Man, I barely remember that, Boris. Gas Express. You got any pictures of that, bro? Gas Express. What did that turn into? What did those turn into? I can't remember. So my goal is to take some radio stations and turn them into gas stations.
Yeah,
anyway,
see, that sounds like something that maybe 76 had come in and bought up.
Yeah, I don't know. I gotta look around. I gotta figure it out. Joey chimed in. We were talking about the bright flash. He says, "Look what happens after Typhoon Pongsonghua. Shortages of gasoline. People started getting crazy. Imagine if that was to happen today." For those of you that don't remember or don't know, we had a pretty devastating typhoon a few years ago. Not necessarily devastating in my mind, as because of the high winds and the heavy seas and all of that. As much as I don't think people prepared for it. I think people, you know, heard the initial stories and stopped. You know, it said it's not coming, it is coming, it's not coming, it is coming, and they just stopped listening and paying attention. And then there was a big bang over at the port, and all of a sudden, all we had was the gas that was in the tanks at the gas stations. And call Carl Gutierrez; he'll tell you the stories. And steps that we needed to take almost right away to begin the process of rationing gasoline. Wow. And it was a handful, you know, it was a very short list of civilians that were able to buy gasoline. It was police and fire, ambulances, and those guys.
And you can still shop at the Gas Express on Anderson Air Force Base.
Oh, the Anderson Air Force Base. That's why I don't know the place. Because, you know, I've never had, as I say, the privilege of service, so I couldn't tell you anything about all of that. There was a bunch of stuff in the table of contents that I didn't get to. I may touch on it here and then return to it later tomorrow because, you know, it's a whole nother day in the broadcast. I was interested in some of the get-togethers that they were having over at the legislature yesterday, talking about the hospitality industry, medicinal marijuana, and the hearing yesterday netted no new hope. And so this is the part where I'm going to tell you, stop hoping for it. Just imagine that we never had the election because we're never going to get the medicinal marijuana. It's just not going to happen. Nice. Stop thinking about it. Now, Louise Munoz got this idea that she might be able to do to have the conversation about, home growing of your marijuana.
Oh, okay.
But I think you'd still have to. We would still have to set something up so that I could go and find somebody that would certify my need for a particular kind of malady for which they will say you can have 2 plants. Right. So we still have to do all of that, and I don't know whether we'd still have to have some kind of testing on it back and forth, or what that system is going to look like. I'm here to tell you that the people over at Public Health never wanted the job. They don't want it now. We're not giving them any additional money to do it. We're not giving them any additional financial brain power or technical brain power to get it done. And until that happens, we're not going to have medicinal marijuana. So stop asking for it. You know what? You've got a better shot today of going to the legislature and finding a way to get recreational marijuana put on the ballot. And then we'd still have to deal with maybe the federal government will come after us. Maybe they won't. I haven't had a chance to take a look at the budget, but my understanding is there might be some language in it that prevents the federal government from doing any more penalty phase or any investigations or even getting in front of local police to conduct investigations into marijuana. So that's where that is.
Do you really think the government cares about Guam that much?
No, I don't. I don't think they give us any more thought than what is required. As they strategic possession out here in the world. If they did, we'd have different conversations about EITC and compact impact. Actually, maybe that's not true. For some of the silly things like that, they'd care. Yeah, they'd care. They'd say, "Well, you can't do that on Guam. Why not? Everybody else does it." Well, everybody else is a state.
And in
you're
reality,
a territory, you're a possession.
They might be very concerned by the fact that there are 2 military bases here and the temptation that the military members would have to partake of recreational,
We'd have more no-go zones, I think. And so while he was there, I love this story. He kind of pushes up against Tom Nadeau over at the Department of Public Health Environmental Services and saying, well, maybe the government needs to do more. Maybe we need to send out pamphlets on safe food handling habits and et cetera, so that they know before they get inspected, they get in trouble. And Tom Nadeau pushes back and says, yeah, when it comes to cockroaches and rats in a restaurant, I don't think a brochure is going to do it. I think they already know that's a bad thing. Baba esti cockroach, Baba esti the tsaka. We don't want rats in the restaurant. And if they have them there, trust me, they know they've got them there and they're not doing anything about it. And giving them a pamphlet that says there shouldn't be cockroaches or rodents in your restaurant ain't going anywhere. And I love that, Tom. Leave me alone. Let me do my job. That's all you got to do. It's 9:59 and change. The radio station is KUSG, Kilo Uniform Sugar Golf. Hagutnya. We're known as The Point. You can call us that, too. I'll see you tomorrow. Right now, Fox News Live.
Talk of regulations. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg facing hours of questions from senators this afternoon who want to know how a massive data breach discovered last month happened.
Some have said the status quo with the social media giant doesn't work. Commerce Chair Republican Senator John Thune notes lawmakers are struggling with what to do about this mega tech company reaching billions around the world.
For this model to persist, both sides of the bargain